College baseball on ESPN. You're watching the ACC on ESPN as teams file into historic Fenway Park. Yeah, it's a picture-perfect day. FSU players signing the monster. BC and FSU getting ready. Coach Gambino getting the troops ready for action. ALS Awareness Day here at Fenway. Fenway Park, one of the most historic ballparks in all of baseball, today becomes host to something much greater than the game played on the field. ALS Awareness. Former Boston College baseball captain Pete Frates captured our hearts and our attention with the Ice Bucket Challenge 4 years ago as he raised awareness for the awful disease that he was diagnosed with in 2012. Like so many others, Pete and his family have dedicated their time, efforts, and life for this cause. Today, Pete, his family, friends, and these two schools come together for one common goal: raising awareness for ALS. And welcome to Boston, everybody. College baseball here this afternoon as BC plays host to FSU. The Noles ranked 18th in the country from Fenway Park. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. John Ciampi, Eduardo Perez, Kyle Peterson. Great to be here on a beautiful day. And obviously, the cause is significant to draw attention to ALS. And Eddie, start with you. I mean, Pete Frates, a guy who, you know, we found out about at ESPN back when the Ice Bucket Challenge started, and he has done so much to raise awareness for ALS. And Pete Frates and his family will be here today. This should be a special day.
And it's all about leadership, and that's one thing that Pete was able to overcome. Even when diagnosed with the disease, he has been able to stand out front and has been able to keep everything going, get the stars involved, get the university involved, and it really has worked well. And we're finally seeing that ALS is in the forefront, so everybody knows about this historic disease.
Yeah, Kyle, you're talking about a family that's put a lot of work into drawing attention to this cause, and obviously it's impacted college baseball and baseball in general.
Yeah, really it's impacted sports. We look all across the landscape, and I know it's a cause that you're really close to and spend a lot of time raising money for as well. So we're here for all the right reasons. Obviously, it's going to be a great baseball game. We got a perfect day for it. It's good to be in Boston, boys.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's go downstairs and welcome in the fourth member of our team. Molly McGrath standing by with Coach Mike Gambino.
Thank you so much, Boog. Coach, this is a significant and emotional day for the Boston College, Florida State, and ALS communities. What's your message to your team ahead of this game?
Honestly, we just talk about, as Pete and Andrew walk by right there, but, we talk about Pete, we talk about, it's not about motivation to win baseball games, and, you've heard me talk about this before, but Pete is such a model and exemplifies who we want to be. You talk about living the Jesuit education of men and women for others, and you see it so much. You see the Boston College community come out here today, from you and Boo coming out and doing the game here, but it's just more than about win a baseball game. Just us trying to be the best followers of Pete. He told us when he got sick, raise funds and raise awareness. Because ALS games, we don't want to have these anymore, right? We want our kids to talk about ALS the way we talk about polio. And that's really the whole goal. So playing baseball games and all this stuff is fun, but let's try to just live and let Pete be our model of who we want to be in everything we do.
Thank you for all that you've done, Coach, and thanks for your time. Best of luck today.
Thanks, Molly. Appreciate it.
Boog, up to you.
All right, Molly, thanks so much. We'll have the first pitch coming up. It's the ALS Awareness Game from Boston's Fenway Park. Pete Frates in the house. Good to see. FSU, BC coming up. Fenway Park. John Ciampi, Eduardo Perez, Kyle Peterson, Molly McGrath. The annual ALS game. Boston College playing host to FSU. And Mike Martin, head coach, one of the legends in the college game, his 39th season, an alum of FSU, and Eddie, a guy you know well.
Yeah, very well, and I'll tell you one thing that he does know is fundamentals, and you will see at Florida State a fundamentally sound team out here on this field today.
Yeah, you get a chance to play for him. All right, let's take a look at our starting lineups as he is 4 wins away from tying Augie Garrido for all-time wins. And you look at their lineup, you got Salvatore, Luke, Applin up top, Raleigh. I know that, Kyle, you like Mendoza a lot as the hitter.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, he's probably the best pro prospect that's on the field. Drew Mendoza turned out a lot of money to show up at Florida State. Cal Raleigh's a kid that's got a chance to play for a long time back behind home plate. Jackson Luke has had a powerful season for a Florida State team that doesn't hit a ton of home runs, but Luke leads them with 10.
As we get ready for action here today, and Dan Metzdorf on the mound. Doesn't have a win this year, making his 10th start, but a strikeout an inning. Decent stuff.
Yeah, you know, better his last 2. He's been better his last 4 starts. For Metzdorf, over his last 4, 39 strikeouts and 27 2/3 with a 2.60 ERA. Just doesn't have a win. So the stuff is fine. You could see all 3 pitches at any time. Talking with their coaching staff before, and he said, listen, the last month he's been a different guy than he was the first month and a half.
Keep an eye on the first inning. He's given up a lot of runs, half of his runs in the first inning.
So ready to go here at Fenway, the ALS awareness game. And the first offering in for a strike. Mike Salvatore, the junior, leading off.
It's neat to see these kids come into this ballpark.
Yeah.
And just stand. And yeah, honestly, one of the things that reminded me of, the setting's totally different, is when kids walk into TD Ameritrade for the first time, when they all come in and practice.
Absolutely.
On that Friday. I mean, it's like these things that you've read about, seen on TV and everything else.
TV.
When they walk in for the first time, just to see them look around was really cool.
Metzdorf back to work.
There was a high school game before this, so it's not like these guys have practiced on this field. This is a show and go atmosphere right now for both Seminoles and Eagles.
No batting practice, no infield, just go get them, boys.
On the ground to short, Polamaki. 1 up, 1 down. One of the things we'll see today from FSU is a patient lineup. They lead the nation in walks accepted. So Mike Martin's team will get on base.
Yeah, that changed a lot after I left Florida State. I was swinging and swinging and swinging all the time. Can't walk your way out of the island.
You got him to this. You got him to this. You totally changed the face of the program.
On base percentage. A lot of takes right now. Really good looks at the plate.
Scouting report on Perez. Hacktastic. Jackson Luke here with a count 0-1. Just getting started here from Fenway. And 0-2.
Metzdorf has that natural left-handed cutter, the one that just comes out of their hands. It's sometimes it's not really taught for these guys. Lefties that have that good natural movement. That's the first time he tried to two-seam it. Everything else was that cutter that was going into the right-handers.
This ballpark, you have to keep the ball down. That wall is mighty big, but it's awfully close.
It is interesting, though, because over time, you think of the wall, and I think at times people think that it's a home run hitter's ballpark. It's not. It's a doubles ballpark.
Right. The other thing to watch, too, is when you go into a park like this, North Carolina's home park plays somewhat similar to this. You can't get away from throwing inside of the right-handers. I mean, you can't pitch to the park, because ultimately, if you're giving away a third of the plate, not going to be standing out there very long.
Next thing you know, Soriano's taking over the wall.
That was early. Over-under on that was the second inning, so cash your tickets earlier than most thought they would.
1999 Futures game, the first annual Futures game. Kyle Peterson on the mound. Two-seam fastball in. Skinny kid at the plate.
Big bat.
Went long ways.
Alfonso Soriano.
Yeah. Thank you, Boog. Good to see you again, partner. Walked up there today just to see where the thing landed. Eddie went with me. Gus went with me. Started shaking uncontrollably.
So Boston College wearing their military appreciation uniforms. They're very active. They have a weekend where they play Louisville at home, and they have a game where they invite veterans over. They have a softball game. Mike Gambino very active with that. So honoring the military as well today. Nice pitch inside corner.
Seen a cutter a fair amount from Bettendorf. And then a few breaking balls in this at bat. Gets Luke in a plus count. Those breaking ball starts away. Comes all the way in the back inside part of the plate. That ball starts off the plate too. And I think it's exactly why you saw the reaction of Luke.
Still 2 down now. Red Alpin, their first baseman. And there's a strike. Metzdorf coming out and pounding the zone.
It's got to be the one fear in this environment is just how your starting pitcher is going to do in the first inning, especially for a guy that's scuffled this year in the first inning. Allowed 24 earned runs the entire season. 12 of those 24 have come in the first. So you combine that with this environment, that's a start they have to be happy with early.
But what is it they say about guys making the move from the minors to the majors? It's that extra deck of stands, right? There's got to be an element of that in play here. Only this is a pretty special place with an extra deck of stands for these kids.
Extra deck of history here.
Yeah.
You look around and it's guaranteed every one of these kids have seen this stadium, this park on TV.
Left field, that's headed towards the monster. Gallen makes the grab on the track, inning over. Metzdorf gets him 1, 2, 3. Florida State doesn't score. Boston College coming up to hit. College baseball is brought to you by Caramel M&Ms. We're making caramel fun.
Caramel too.
Back here in Boston and from Fenway Park, we got FSU and Boston College. ALS awareness game, and Coach Mike Gambino, here is his lineup for this afternoon. BCU's gotten a chance to play the ALS awareness game now. This is the 7th ALS awareness game they've been involved in. Last year, the first time at Fenway, and they played NC State and won. All right, so Palomaki up top. Gallen's a guy that's interesting because he could really scoot. 26 stolen bases. Cunningham and Martellini in the middle of that order.
As a club, they can really scoot. I mean, that's the one thing that Boston College really does. It's one of the top stolen base teams in the entire country. Gallen 26 of 27. Palomaki 14 of 15, right at the top of this lineup.
CJ Van Eyck, the freshman, making his second start.
Second start, looking around. This ballpark has to be a little bit intimidating for him. His first pitch, actually, warm-up pitch, went sailing way past the catcher. So it'll be interesting to look at him. Has a really good curveball. Yeah. That's the pitch you're going to have to look at from the get-go to see if it's effective. Then he'll be able to settle down.
Just get it out of your system right in warm-ups. Throw one to the backstop, then we're good.
That's how it works.
Sure. Yeah. Sometimes.
Palomaki, a switch hitter. He has started now all 38 games that BC has played this year. He's having a really good season. So Van Eyck falling behind early 3-0. And gets one in there.
Van Eyck, a kid they are excited about. Just a freshman, really excited about the upside, forced into the starting rotation because of the injury to Cole Sands.
And he walks the leadoff man. And again, be aware, Palomaki with 14 steals. He's been caught once. So the top two guys, Gallen and Palomaki, have combined to go 40 out of 42.
That's the thing. They're very effective on the bases. They know when to pick their spots. Florida State pitchers are very quick to the plate.
There's that breaking ball.
He needs to show early that he can throw it for a strike. That way it'll be a big time weapon later on when he gets to expand that zone.
Gallen, their top hitter. OBP excellent at 400, and as mentioned, second in the country in steals. Check swing, appeal to first, did not go, says Thomas Newsom.
So both time plus counts trying to go to the breaking ball, and both times missed in the exact same spot. That time started to get on an offer from Gallen, but he held up just in time.
Florida State playing at a double play depth. With Gallen's speed, it's going to be very difficult to get a double play. They have to focus on getting one. A lot of room in the 5-6 hole and 4-3 hole.
In the dirt, good jump, Paulamaki, and he dives in safely. So that'll go wild pitch. And BC with a guy in scoring position.
Pretty good read right there, too. All three breaking balls have been down and out of the zone. I mean, you can see the movement. You can see that if he does get in the zone, it's a plus breaking ball. But that time, good read by Paulamaki. Didn't wait to see where that one ended up.
3-2 inside, and he's walked the first two. Eddie, I want to ask you something quickly as far as the batter's eye. Center field out there, normally the seats are covered.
During the day.
Yeah, so in dead away center field, basically just to the right of the monster. Yeah, right where the flag is.
Right.
Basically, it's that triangle section is usually draped off.
It's usually draped off, covered, because that way during the daytime, at night it's not.
Right.
The fans are allowed to be there.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be that much of an effect on the hitters.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the way the sun is set up later, we'll look at it in right field, where Ted Williams hit that ball. That area is very shiny. The angle of the sun, there it is right there, number 21.
Yeah.
It's a long ways.
That is some nonsense. I said it. At Boog Shambi. Come at me. There's a strike. So quickly, 0-2 on Cunningham, the sophomore first baseman. Yeah, I mean, all right, so now back.
Way back.
Keep it coming. And I don't even think that I think where we are does it justice from our vantage point. Runners go, bouncer right side. And the runners advance. So, two in scoring position now.
Pick the right one to go on, and I mean, at best they get the lead runner. There's no chance they're going to turn two there anyway. But you could see, and I think it's just an indicator of the way that BC is going to run the bases. Paulamaki had that extended secondary, and he was off and running. He stole that one, or started to steal that one off of the freshman Van Eyck.
He has to be able to change his looks because they keep moving. You have to stop their feet, get them flat-footed. Very active on the bases, and they know it.
Gian Martellini now.
Martellini has to think middle the other way. Right here, you have a runner in scoring position. Infield is back. Tries to pull anything right here. One of those sliders, ground ball to third base, that won't do the job.
No, I think he's going to get a few of those too.
Good stop back there. Cal Raleigh with that block. Kyle, FSU, their top pitcher was Tyler Holton. He got hurt early.
Yeah, first start, Tyler Holton threw 66 pitches this entire season. It was a preseason All-American. And that's, I mean, the other thing about Holton is the days he wasn't pitching, he was their starting first baseman. So you lose your starting first baseman, you lose your ace before the season even starts, and a guy that had been as consistent as maybe anybody in the country the last 3 years. Cole Sands has now missed a turn. They think they're going to get 2 turns, including this weekend. They think they'll get him back next weekend. But Florida State's battled injuries, not just on the mound, but everywhere the whole year. Still, though, you look up, they're 9-9 in the league and have a chance to potentially host if they can finish strong in the ACC.
Inside.
Really likes that arm side fastball. Everything has been, and the misses have been 3, 4, 5 inches arm side, just off the plate, inside to the right hand.
On the corner. So now 3-2. Martellini, their catcher, native of Rhode Island. He and Dante Baldelli hail from the same high school. Bishop Hendrick in, got him looking.
I like location where Raleigh started to move. 3-1, he moved away from the right-hander because the misses had all been arm side, goes to the same spot. He doesn't get it all the way out there, but it froze Martellini both times. 3-1 fastball, 3-2 fastball that has good carry. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of sink, but it feels like that ball has a bunch of bore when it gets towards home plate. I like this arm a lot.
There's a lot more confidence now in him just because he was able to throw that breaking pitch to Martellini, first pitch for a strike. There's that arm side run again.
And I think, honestly, at this point, if I'm Raleigh, I'd start right in the middle of the plate. Even if you want the fastball away, I'd sit right in the middle of the plate because the natural movement's going to take it a little bit that way, and the misses all seem to be a little bit arm side.
Second and third here. Van Eyck walked the first 2 guys to begin the inning, but he's bounced back. Got a ground out and a strikeout.
Florida State, really both these could use an extended outing from a starter. Last night they played a crisp 4-hour and 50-minute Wago. And
wow.
You don't like to go to your bullpen as much as Mike Martin and Mike Gambito both had to yesterday in Game 1.
Oh, what's a Wago?
I think it's a game. Is that right?
Oh, Wago.
Game?
Oh, okay. That's good.
Did I just butcher it?
Yeah, but it's okay. I just wanted to know what a Wago was. I didn't know what a Wago was. By the way, nice tie.
This felt like a purple day.
Yeah.
Did it?
Just kind of did.
Good job.
Yep. It's where the other guy's tie day here in the booth.
And actually, right here, when you fall behind 3-0, you got to strike after, but it's probably the smartest thing to do. Pitch around the left-handed hitter, get to Baldelli. Baldelli started the season off swinging a really hot bat. It was really cooled off. I know one thing, Rocco Baldelli right now in Tampa Bay, he's watching this game. Older brother with the Rays in front office.
So Dante a chance to give Boston College the lead. And there they are together at JetBlue, spring training home of the Boston Red Sox. Towards the hole, that'll get through. Palomaki in on his heels. Gallen throw to the plate, too late. Baldelli delivers. Boston College with a 2-0 lead.
Like Salvatore, Florida State shortstop, really pinched up the middle on this one too, and you can see the minute this ball's put into play, there's no chance that he can get to it. With the speed that Boston College has at the top of this lineup, remember this inning started walk. Palamaki's going to score easily. Galland is as well, and Boston College strikes first here with 2.
Baldelli choked up big time also with the bat. They tried to get in there. That Knight's been living on arm side, and the Eagles have noted.
This one popped in the air a mile high. Durr out, Wells in. Wells makes the grab. Inning over. Boston College gets on the board first, and their former captain looking on. He's got to be happy. 2-0, BC on top.
Where does a phenomenon begin?
I'm proud to take the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS.
Who creates a cause? How does a movement start? This starts with one challenge.
This challenge was started by Pete Frates.
Pete Frates, Boston College.
With one man.
I am doing this in honor of Pete Frates.
Pete Frates.
With one name.
The annual ALS awareness game, the Ice Bucket Challenge, championed by Pete Frates in 2014. It raised over $220 million. Amazing.
Yeah. Keeps on going.
And one of the things going on right now is the Pete Frates home health care initiative, as they're trying to continue to raise money for patients living with ALS. It's kind of it's a twofold thing. You know, you're talking about research and finding a cure. Molly McGrath had more on that. Yeah. Her father is involved in that process. But the other component is for the people living. Man, health insurance doesn't cover everything, and it can take a pretty incredible toll on a family financially.
Well, and this is where the money from this game is going to that, towards the home health care component of this.
Yep. Oh, there's his dad, John Frates, Lucia's daughter. A great family.
I mean, it is incredible. I mean, when you talk about $220 million raised for the cause in that time frame, where, I mean, yes, I think that people were aware of what ALS meant, but Lord, are they so much more aware of it now.
Agreed.
And what it does to the patients that get diagnosed with it psychologically, a lot of them just stay indoors. They don't want to be out. And I think what Pete has done is create this awareness of saying, no, we have to be, we have to allow people to understand what this is all about.
So amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and of course known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And as many as 20,000 Americans have the disease at any time. And it is a neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and the spinal cord. But I guess effectively what happens is that the brain stops being able to send messages to parts of the body to tell those parts to move, right, or to function.
And Boog, the worst thing about ALS is that it doesn't take away from the sharpness or the acuity of your mind. So Pete Frates, for example, isn't able to talk. He's not able to walk. He hasn't been able to do that for a matter of years now. But his mind is sharper than ever. He says his memory is sharper than it's ever been because he is forced to take a step back and observe everything in the world around him. So it truly is like being trapped in your own body, but your mind is just as sharp. I don't think people realize that about ALS. It's one of the terrible things about the disease.
Yeah, that's it right there. I lost a close friend, Tim Sheehy, to ALS in 2007, a childhood friend, a guy I'd known since we were 7 years old. And to learn all of those things about the disease and basically being trapped in your body, and then the other part of it was, I remember talking to him, so okay, you can't move your leg, but you still feel pain.
Right.
So, I can remember having the conversations with him that he can't move, but do you feel this? Yeah. Would it hurt to? Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty awful. Another walk. So Metzdorfer got off to a really good start and came out just pounding the zone. Has walked the first two here in the second.
And as good as it was that 7 hitters came up to the plate for BC, at the same time, it actually affects him on the mound. We've seen him not be as consistent down in the zone, in the strike zone. 2 walks, same way it started off for the Boston College team in the first inning.
Alex Trez out right now, and the first inning for Metzdorf looked clean, fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, the cutter was there, breaking ball was there. It's a little bit longer, and you're facing, really the best 2 hitters in this club between Raleigh and Mendoza, the 2 guys that can really do some damage, but now both are standing on first and second.
Probably facing now the hottest hitter for the Seminoles in Wells.
Homered in 3 of the last 4. Kyle, you mentioned that game last night that Florida State won. They were up, I think, 10-3 in that game.
Yep.
And BC ended up coming back and eventually 13-12.
2 runs in the 7th, 3 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th for BC to tie it. And Florida State ends up winning at 13-12 and 11.
Little flare down the right side. Fair ball. That'll take a hop and bounce into the stands. Automatic double. A run in, and it is 2-1.
And welcome to Fenway Park. Right here, first pitch on the inside part. When you're going good, this is what happens. Gets jammed, swings to the left, the ball goes to the right, and then one hop into the stands. Tricky corners here.
Think about this, too.
Park.
For an offense that is one of the most patient offenses in the entire country, you go walk to start the inning. And if you're Metzdorf on the mound, you're going, all right, now I'm going to pump one in here and get ahead 0-1. And now we're swinging at the first pitch.
Probably a break there for BC as that one hopped into the stands. Florida State might have been able to get another run in. They had some Tony Clark 2004 LCS flavor to it. Yeah.
Kyle, do you like this? Metzdorf now going from the windup with runners at second and third, no outs.
It's more of a comfort thing. I'm okay with it. If you got a decent runner on second base and a guy that can get a good sized secondary, you're essentially, you're guaranteeing that a ball into the outfield, 2 runs are going to score. My thing is, I'd rather be comfortable go get the hitter first. If this allows him a little bit more comfort to go out of it, I'd be okay with it.
Bounce to short, Palomaki. And gets the out there.
That's a great read by Wells right there. Usually the runner at second stays at second any ball in front of you.
Yeah, watch this, Eddie. I was thinking the exact same thing. So it's to his right. And for Palomaki, the shortstop, he didn't even peek to third base. I mean, It was an immediate break. When I saw him moving, I thought he was going to get thrown out third, honestly, the first move. I mean, it's usually, that's your base runner rule, isn't it?
It is, unless the ball hits dirt. And that's where it gets tricky. And you go back to it, if the ball, you're at second base and that ball hits dirt before it hits grass, you will have a chance to get to third. The ball does not hit dirt, you better stay.
Let's be honest, I would not have had a chance to get to third. The way that you said
but we actually go back to being from the windup. You get a bigger jump. See, ball hit dirt.
And a bigger
before
secondary.
It hit there, bigger secondary.
Yeah.
By the time he's there, see, he's looking at third right there. Third baseman's not in position. Go get the shore out.
So back to your point about windup, that's another way that it affects it. I mean, if you're going to get a little bit bigger lead, you can get yourself a little bit bigger secondary, then you can take more of a chance on a ball like that.
One down man at third, 2 runs in. And they're going to get another run. Palomaki handles that chance, and Florida State has bounced right back and taken a 3-2 lead.
And this is what they'll do to you. And I know it's the same way that Boston College scored earlier, but really it's the way that Florida State does score. I mean, if you allow guys to get on, they figure out some way to get them across. Mike Martin Jr., the third base coach that really runs this offense, it is a patient approach. They got 3 runs scored in this inning. They got 1 hit. Played for his dad. Did you play with me?
No, he was younger. We used to throw him in the garbage can.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
No problem.
Yeah, nice of you.
Toughened him up.
How much younger?
He was a freshman maybe in high school. He could hit though. Made him a catcher and did a nice job for Florida State behind the plate.
Was he a switch hitter?
No, left-handed hitter.
Okay. There's a strike. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I didn't even know where that was going.
You like my tie?
It's great.
Thank you.
Stole his tie.
Come on, man. You start making fun of me in the first inning. You steal my tie.
That's right. Up the middle, and that'll get through. Reese Albert with the knock. Kyle, I want to go back to the idea of pitching out of the windup. I think we all grew up, Little League, whatever. Most pitchers would rather pitch out of the windup.
Yeah.
That said, there is a real movement in professional baseball. I'm not going to say away from the windup, but to really simplify it. Going
Makes
out
sense.
of a modified windup, going out of something a lot closer to the stretch.
And some guys only doing that now.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the reality is the windup adds more complexity to what you're trying to do, which is consistently throw the ball 60 feet. So if you take some of that out of it, it only makes sense that over time you should be more consistent. I always, though, I never felt as comfortable out of stretch as I did out of the windup. I remember this is years ago. It was some conversation with Greg Maddox. And they were talking about how he prepared for games in the bullpen and how 75 to 80% of the pitches he threw before the game are out of the stretch because the most important pitches you're going to make in a game are out of the stretch. So just because it feels a little bit better, A.J. Listagler, the third base umpire, that one was close too.
And Mike Martin coming out.
You can have the discussion, but this is one that is not reviewable. But it hits dirt in front of the bag, which clearly this does. That is just a judgment call on the third base umpire. If it gets there in the air, you can go back and ask for a replay on it. But in this case, hitting dirt out in front of home plate, that's a judgment call, and you got to stay with it. Yeah, but it's sad, but I never thought about it that way. That, yeah, the biggest pitches are in the stretch. You better darn sure make sure that you're comfortable out of the stretch. It clearly hit
close.
Foul. I mean, when it was right at the foot of AJ Lestaglia, it clearly hit foul, but ultimately it's whether or not it went over the back. Well, you guys are in the big league game all the time. I mean, is the feedback primarily because of simplification, just trying to get more consistent going towards home plate?
David Price was probably one of the first to do so. Seeing guys just
right field towards the corner. Swazi able to make the catch. And when we come back, Molly McGrath will visit with brother of Pete Frates, Andrew Frates.
Back here at Fenway Park for Boston College's 7th annual ALS awareness game, playing against Florida State today. And I'm here with Andrew Frates, the younger brother of Pete Frates. And Andrew, you actually pointed this out to me, that Florida State has been doing an ALS awareness game even longer than Boston College has. How meaningful is it for you and for your family that another ACC team is championing in this cause?
You know, they are truly brothers, BC and Florida State. They're ACC competitors, but they're all in this fight together. For Florida State to, when we called Florida State and to say we wanted to have this game, they said, we're on board with whatever you guys want to do. We've been having an ALS game, and we're happy to support Pete and the Frates family fight.
This is the second year at Fenway Park. This is a big deal for a family from Massachusetts. How have you seen this event grow throughout the years?
As you mentioned, me and Pete are from Beverly, Mass., which is just 30 minutes north of Boston. We came here with my grandfather all the time. So to see the game grow from BC campus to here and have 5,000, 6,000, hopefully 10,000 fans someday is amazing. We are at Boston. Fenway Park is an iconic Boston venue, and to have such a day like today is truly remarkable.
Pete was known for his aggressive, grinded-out mentality on the baseball field, and his approach to his fight against ALS has been the same. What does Pete want people to know?
Pete wants people to know that he can still hear you, whatever you guys say. Message him on Twitter at PeteFrates3. He can still hear you. He hears all of the words of encouragement in our family's fight, and he wants you to stay with us. Stay with the cause. We know the Ice Bucket Challenge was just the tip of the iceberg. That's what those dollars and all the funding from the Ice Bucket Challenge is what is going to eventually cure, like smart people like your father, is eventually going to cure this disease.
And the Boston College community and all of Boston really rallied behind your family and behind Pete. What does that say about this community here in Boston?
Boston is so special. The sports community is amazing. With the marathon the other day, my cousin ran in the sleet, wind, just terrible conditions, and it's an amazing sports town, and the sports community has really latched on to us. The Bruins, the Red Sox, Celtics, and the Patriots have all invited Pete to every single event that they've ever had, so we're so thankful to the Red Sox especially for them to have this day today, and they're just remarkable, and obviously Boston College.
We have to mention that you ran in the marathon last year, and then you kicked a field goal at a Patriots game for the playoffs this past year. Can you tell us about that process and training for that and what happened there?
Yeah, so I got a call from Coach Gambino and said, hey, I have this opportunity for you to kick a field goal for $5,000 to the freight train. And I said, there's a double, I hope. Get in there.
Feel free to call the game.
Yep, all right, he's in safe. So I got a call from Coach Gambino. He said, you got a chance to kick a field goal for $5,000 5 minutes before kickoff of the Patriots playoff game in front of 60,000 people. I said, oh crap, I got to get to work. So I went up to St. John's Prep, where me and Pete went to high school, and I only made 2 of 25 field goals the whole time, the whole practice round. And then when the bright lights were on, I nailed the kick for $5,000 to our organization.
That is such a cool story. That's awesome. Andrew, thank you so much for your time. Boog, watch out. He's after your job.
Molly, tell him to come out of his shell a little bit. You know what I mean?
Seriously.
Is that a wisecrack?
Yeah, you
Never. Oh, such a great family. Yeah, Andrew ran the marathon last year, and obviously, my connection as a Boston College alum.
Yeah.
Molly as well. Molly went to school with Pete, and
nice.
and getting to know the Frates family through our connection with ALS. I tweeted Pete and direct message him, and same with with Andrew and John as well, and they're a special family, and they are, tireless.
They're so committed. So committed. Got a chance to meet his father before this ball game, and Andrew, in not many ways, has become the mouthpiece of a lot of this, and is doing an incredible job of it.
And Mom Nancy as well, who has definitely worked hard. One of the things I really think, baseball has moved forward and has taken steps. Last year they did a home health care awareness initiative. That one gets down for a hit, and they'll stop the runner at third. Back-to-back rockets.
Yeah, that's a real arm.
For Boston College.
That arm plays.
There's a real arm and right there for Wells. And Mike Gambino, coaching third base for BC, knows right here. But back-to-back hits. Maselli starts it in the 9-hole. Then Palomaki, who's now reached base both times, shoots this ball to right field. And we saw, it's right now for Van Eyck, he's throwing more strikes, but he's not necessarily throwing strikes exactly where he wants to. That fastball covered to right field. 2 straight hits for Boston College.
This is the part of the lineup now you have to be concerned of your Florida State. A lot of speed at first base, speed at the plate also.
Still legal here, boys. Don't worry about it. Still legal. Don't yell at anybody, Boog. It's okay.
What? No one's yelling.
No, you were just on the edge of yelling right there. I stopped you.
I was picked off.
You were?
I forgot that the rule existed.
John Shelby, Kyle Peterson, Eduardo Perez, Molly McGrath from Fenway Park. Runner takes off from first, and a stolen base for Palomaki, his 15th.
That was a really good jump. Again, already a set play. Florida State was not going to throw through on this. See him coming into the picture. By the time that ball gets to the plate, there's no chance to get him in second. You're wondering if the shadows are going to bother the hitter. Not yet.
When?
Right when it starts getting halfway through. Right when you see the shadows already covering the dirt area.
So it's pitcher in the sun, hitter in the shade.
Still okay.
No, it's not. It's okay when it's halfway out there. That's when it's okay. Oh.
What's going to be difficult and what's going to play is actually for Wells in right field. Wells and Swazi to the right fielders. Any fly ball hit.
There's a strike. CJ Van Eyck, the freshman, making his second start of the year. 3-2 game early on. And ball 4, they're loaded up. Mike Martin's team ranked 18th in the country, 500 in the league.
Number 11 was a little fired up for this one. He wasn't too happy about yesterday. Big lead. Ended up having to stay a little bit longer to get the game 1 win. It was an 8-1 lead for Florida State going to the bottom of the 5th. Solo runs in the 5th and 6th for Boston College, and 2, 3, and 2 in the 7th, 8th, and 9th kept it going.
4 hours, 50 minutes.
Yep.
a lot of miscommunication, pop-ups. Center fielder not taking charge, and fly ball that fell between shortstop, second baseman, and center fielder. All those things that he said, I cannot assume. I have to continue to practice to get better.
Right side, it gets through. 1 run is in. Palamaki racing. Throw too late. Runner down to second. Here comes a runner. Throw there. Safe. Gallen comes in. How do you like that? Cleared the bases on a roller through the right side.
It's a big arm in right field now. Stephen Wells has a big arm, but this is one, too, where I think you got to throw the ball to third base, especially knowing the base runner. C.J. Van Eyck, the freshman, goes over. The break is to cover first, which is why you don't see him backing up home plate. So when that ball goes to the right side, the pitcher's going to go cover first base, then the ball goes through, and the minute it gets past Cal Rowley, the catcher, the assumption is there's somebody else standing back there, because there always is. But because the ground ball was hit to the right side, Van Eyck is going to cover. There's nobody there to back up, and Boston College can score another run.
And remember, we were talking about the frustration of Mike Martin yesterday with his team after giving up that big lead of fundamentals. This is something he probably is going to talk to his pitcher, his young pitcher, settle him down, let him know where he has to be, and get that bullpen to go. Those guys to get to the bullpen.
Get out there.
It's a longer run than what you think.
Stephen Wells meeting and greeting.
He's a welcoming committee on the way out.
So BC here in the early going, a 5-3 lead.
Give BC a lot of credit after giving up 3 in the top half. Come back with 3 more in the bottom, answering back from Florida State.
Martellini now. Still only 1 out. By the way, on that last one, it goes single, 2 RBI, and an E9.
Florida State still playing the infield back with 1 out, runner at third. Mike Martin sending a message to his offense, believing in them, trusting in them. It's okay to be down 3. They can trade the out.
Up and in. So now 3-1.
It's just been hard for Van Eyck today to repeat. There may be one that'll look really good, and then the next 2 will be misfires on different sides of the plate. The breaking ball, when he's thrown it where he wanted to, is a good pitch. Really, it's been inconsistency with the fastball that's hurt him so far.
Got one in the booth a couple years ago.
Here?
Yeah.
Did you make the play?
Chris Singleton caught it. We were doing a playoff game, 2013. Rays, Red Sox, right into Singy's hands.
Did he sign it for you? Give it to him?
No.
Oh.
You caught one? You ever caught one?
No, I always make an attempt to catch one.
Only one I caught ever at a major league park, and I guess I didn't actually catch it, but I was doing sidelines here probably 15 years ago.
Is that right?
I was walking back behind the stands. One hit on the roof, rolled back, picked it up. I'm going to count that.
You're going to count that?
Yeah. Caught one at Williamsport this year.
Did you really?
I have like 4 catches.
Really?
Legit. I did a radio game when I was calling the Marlins. When I was calling a Marlins game, and it was the kick in the 3-1. Cut on and fouled back to me, and I make the catch.
Carried all the way through it?
That's correct.
Did you have a glove on?
Nope.
Really?
And I didn't even have, it was Kevin Millar fouled it back to me.
Really?
And I didn't have to move. It was like
foul ball to me.
Chest high.
And a 3-2.
That's right. I got one in Cleveland.
So I should feel very comfortable here if the ball comes here with both of you.
I would not feel comfortable for any reason right now if I were you.
All of those were 10 years ago. I got Tony Womack in Arizona hit one to me, and Barry Larkin in Cincinnati.
Really good names.
Yeah.
Maglio Ordonez hit the one in Cleveland.
Maglio Ordonez took me into the 84th row. First home ron I gave up. Thanks for bringing that up, too. That's awesome.
Chris Singleton was your first hit, right?
Yep. Guess who hit after him? Maglio Ordonez.
Oh, too good.
Man.
Guess what the score was?
Go ahead.
2 rip early.
Ooh.
Stay hot, kid.
Yep.
Who was your first hit off of, Eddie?
I want to say Joe Baver.
Joe Baver.
Not sure.
Palm ball, Joe.
Yeah, Joe Baver.
All right.
Double, right field line.
First homer?
First and last double that I ever hit down the right field line. First homer, same game. Kevin Campbell. Soup. Curveball.
Ooh. Wow. So 2 down now. Remember, this inning started with a strikeout.
Liberal strike zone on that one, but it was a really good job by Cal Riley to let it travel too. Let that ball get as far back into him as he could. Stole a strike there.
Baldelli chokes up on that bat, already has a hit, 2 RBI. First pitch last time was a fastball on the inside part, was able to hit it in that 5-6 hole. This time to start off with a breaking ball.
Saw an interview with Dante Baldelli. He was asked 3 people he'd like to go to dinner with, and he thought for a second and then said Tom Brady, and Tom Brady. Yeah, around these parts.
There might be a few of those answers around here.
Yep.
His brother is very slim, tall, lanky, and this is actually a slimmer version than his brother, and I did not even think that was possible.
Well, his brother was an incredible athlete. Chopper towards third, foul ball. A.J. Lastaglio on the call.
He's had 2 tight calls already at third base.
I mean, close.
Mike Martin must be thinking, okay, now we're even.
AJ's had his work put in already today.
He's got to have a few discussions here in the second inning already. Yeah, we can probably put a bell on that one. 4th time we've tried the old third to first.
Not legal anymore at the big league level, which I'm good with.
Hey, so what do we got on the 6 visits so far?
Irrelevant.
Where you at on?
It really hasn't made an impact.
Yeah, none.
It really hasn't. Now, I think with some catchers that used to visit the mound a lot, maybe they think it has.
The pitch clock is coming, though.
Good?
Yeah.
Fine with that.
BC scores 3 times, and the Eagles on top 5-3.
Forever associated with a baseball legend, connected as the catalyst for a charitable challenge. ALS is a progressive disease, but also a merciless thief. It robs comfort and motion and speech, but it can't touch the mind. It can't seize the awareness or stop the research or block the drive to a cure. ALS may take many things, but never the greatest of them: hope, joy, love.
And there is Big Pete Frates, former Boston College baseball captain, number 3. I got a BC Pete Frates jersey.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. And last year we got a chance to do this game, and it was Boston College against NC State, and one of their former players who played in the Pirates organization, Chris Combs, who was diagnosed with ALS. I guess it'll be May 3 years ago. And he just tweeted at us, and he said that he's watching and he misses being at Fenway. So hi to Chris.
Well, and NC State is doing the same thing today, too. NC State is having an ALS Awareness Day.
Chris has been really active raising money for research as well. And, yeah, it's Team Chris Combs. They've done a ton. They have a great event every year in September, or the last couple years. And here at Fenway Park, the 7th annual ALS Awareness Game. And Chris, another guy who's been active, and yeah, he's great. And there he is. That was spring training last year. If you go back, actually, there is a Boston tie-in. The second guy in the picture is Andy Barquette, who played in the big leagues a tiny bit with the Pirates. He played with Chris at NC State. He's now with Alex Cora on his staff with the Red Sox.
Assistant hitting coach. Yesterday was the one holding the iPad also. There he is right there. Right before the Grand Slam.
Went watch some Pete Frates video today. Went back and saw a game senior year against Maryland. He had 2 jacks. Drove in 8 or 9, had a grand slam, had a 2 or 3 run home run. Single his first time, though.
Oh, that's sweet.
Sweet swing, man.
His biggie, I think I'd say from a memory standpoint, would be that, and then also, you know, the tournament that gets so much attention. College hockey is huge in these parts. And the hockey bean pot. Well, they started a baseball bean pot. And BC won it, and Pete hit a homer into the bullpen. Man at first, nobody out. We're in the top of the 3rd. John Shambi, Eduardo Perez, and Kyle Peterson.
I was on your campus yesterday, Boog. Walked around BC, hadn't had a chance to do that. I was looking for the statue. I didn't find it. I was a little bit disappointed. I thought it'd be
statue
of review, but I just assumed there'd be a nod to John Shambi.
Line fair ball. Digging it out of the corner is Swazi. They're going to send the runner.
That's smart.
On his way to the plate, and he scores.
That's smart right there by Mike
done.
Martin Jr. Smart. Third base coach, you have your player, your runner from first. Just keep going hard through the bag until you pick up your coach. And that corner right there, the pesky pole area, a little tricky. Swazi throws the ball. Watch where he throws the ball. And as soon as he throws it to second base, Mike Martin Jr. sees this. If he throws it towards first base, then he'll stop him. In the meantime, goes to second right there, is able to continue to send out Luke all the way from first. Watch him, does not stop the entire way. Picks up Mike Martin Jr. and scores easily.
Mike Martin Jr. is about 45 feet, about halfway between third base and home plate. And on that one, too, just misplayed enough by Swazi out in right field. Luke was on a one-way lead at first base, too. His first two steps were to go back to first before that ball was even hit.
See a lot of runners assume once they get rounding second, okay, I'm going to stop at third base. But especially in this ballpark, it's a tricky right field. Remember, they did not work out at all at this ballpark.
But there's any ballpark, if you're going to go in and you've never played in it before, that you want to work out in a little bit, it's got to be this one above anywhere else, isn't it?
It's this one. The warning track itself is probably twice as big as any other warning track in baseball. That's the thing that really always tricked me when I was playing the outfield of this ballpark.
Now coming up tomorrow night, ESPN Sunday Night Baseballs. Bryce Harper and the Nationals will take on the Dodgers. The Nats, the Dodgers, Sunday night, presented by Taco Bell, 8 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Radio, and ESPN app.
Great picture right there from the center field camera of how wide that warning track is next to the bullpen. It's all around. Usually count 3 steps and jump, or you'll brace yourself to hit the wall. Not here. It's more like 5.5.
And in this part, right field's really center field in terms of defender. You go back and look at when they won in 2013. Ellsbury and Victorino were playing center and right respectively. They had 2 center fielders to cover a ton of ground.
Well, they do now.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's in Bradley Jr. now. They make it look easy out there. Still, the best play I ever saw in right field here was 1975. Dwight Evans play over his head. I think it was Joe Morgan hit it.
Nice block back there, Martellini. Were you at the World Series?
I was at home in Cincinnati when they played the home games. When they played the road games, I actually had to stay at Lee May's house. Rest in peace, good old Mo. They actually had like 3 rainouts. They had a nor'easter, and it was just, it was a long stay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Game 6 was actually rained out twice because that's the quirky thing. Alex Cora's birthday, his actual date of birth, is the date for the originally scheduled Game 6 of the 75 World Series. Really? Yeah. Three-1 down. Oh, yeah.
A rough day on the mound today. It was a 1-2-3 first for Dan Metzdorf on the mound for Boston College, but since then just hasn't been able to find much consistency. Mendoza thankfully rolling out of the way of that one. Looked like it caught just the inside part of that ear flap.
Any relation to Jess?
Drew?
I don't think so. Drew's a Florida kid.
He is.
He is.
She could swing it.
Yeah.
Lefty. Yeah, that's what I thought.
She's got a home game tomorrow night.
That's right. Yeah, Jess and A-Rod and Matt Vasgersian will have the call tomorrow night on TV. Two on, one out here. 5-4 game.
Hottest guy in the lineup for the Seminoles in the last week. Already has a double.
I'm going to tell you this. If Stephen Wells doesn't get a chance to swing the bat in the pro ball, somebody's going to put him on the mound.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is a real arm in right field.
He has a great arm. He came into the game hitting mid-270s. His on-base percentage is 200 points higher than his average.
Yeah.
Dude, that's impressive.
33 walks, 31 strikeouts coming into the game.
Look out. Wow.
Florida State had a right fielder by the name of Chris Brock. Chris Brock did not get signed to be an outfielder. He signed as a pitcher and made it to the Atlanta Braves organization in the big leagues. Great arm, fastball, curveball. That ball.
What's that one feel like?
Oh,
I mean,
you're in no
every
man's land.
move is to
you don't know where to
move
go.
back and to get away from it, and then your whole life you've been moving one way. Right at the last minute, you got to go the other.
.30 now. And that's ball 4.
Continues to get on base.
So loaded up. And activity in the bullpen.
Boston College used 5 arms yesterday. Florida State used 4. I know that you'd like to wait as long as you possibly can, but I don't know if you can wait any longer. That's now 5 walks on the day for Dan Metzdorf.
Coach Trezza making his way out. So it's conference time.
Yeah, and these are tough. I mean, sometimes there's really nothing to say. I mean, just kind of simplify everything, and let's see if we can't sit down in the middle of the plate and steal a few strikes here.
What I mean, the Florida State meeting is the meeting that I find mildly ridiculous. Like,
well, listen,
just go stay on the base.
But here's why: if you get a chance to go hang out with your buddies for a minute and a half, why wouldn't you go do that? I mean, it's lonely. If you're standing at second base by yourself, it's lonely out there. It's a little chilly.
I like it.
I think it's outstanding.
I like hanging out with you guys.
Mildly ridiculous. Come on.
Mildly. It's like the weather.
Yeah.
Ridiculous would connote extreme, but I undercut it with just a little bit of mildness.
Did you say the word? What did you say? Connote? Would note? Connote?
Yeah.
No chance. You win. Connote for 500, Alex. All right.
Well, you talked about not being able to control the fastball. First 2 pitches, breaking ball.
Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, just slow everything. Let's try something else. I mean, it's if you don't have fastball, we don't need command of all of them. Let's just try to find command of one of them. Find command of one, get a few outs, then go back to the other ones, see if you can find it again.
All loaded up, 1 out. BC up by a run. Metzdorf.
Found that one.
That's a big strikeout. With the bases loaded, you need that swing and miss right here. Gets it. Ball stayed up and off on Johnson for him to at least barrel it, but good late break.
Goes out of the stretch here. The part that was just interesting to me was, man, he came out that first inning and just peppered the zone.
Oh, it was bang, bang, bang.
And then in the second,
walk to start, then the double by Wells, all 3 guys that score. Now 5 straight breaking balls, 3 in a row to strike out Cobi Johnson. Now 2 here to go 2-0 on Durr.
What does he go with here? He has not been able to control the fastball this inning. The breaking ball's been his pitch.
On the ground. So Metzdorf able to preserve the lead. We're midway in the third. BC by a run. Back at Fenway as we go to the bottom of the third. The annual ALS awareness game. 7th annual ALS awareness game for BC. Boston College will face a new pitcher, the right-hander Tyler Ahearn, the freshman from Jupiter, Florida.
He's looking for some consistency for Ahearn. The challenge this year has been really what the challenge was for Van Eyck so far. It's a control, 11 walks in those 7 appearances. 10 2/3 innings over on the year for Ahearn.
Let's go downstairs and hand it over to Molly McGrath.
Thank you so much, Boog. I'm here with Casey Sherman, the author of the Ice Bucket Challenge, detailing Pete Frates and his fight against ALS. Casey, what made you want to tell this story?
I write hero stories, and whether it's a story about a great sea rescue or a story about the Boston Marathon bombings, and Pete Frates, honestly, is the biggest hero that I've ever encountered. Here's a young man that was given a virtual life or death sentence and used it as a rallying cry to mobilize the world for change, and that's exactly what he's done.
And he's choosing to fight ALS publicly, and you got to spend some time with his family, John and Nancy, his brother Andrew. What surprised you most about Pete and his family?
One word that I keep coming back to is strength. John and Nancy, obviously they are Pete's parents, so they bear a lot of the responsibility for Pete's care, but they're so strong every day. Andrew has put his life on hold to take care of his older brother, and don't forget Pete's wife Julie, who's an amazing woman who dedicated her life to her husband in his fight, and without that support, I don't think the Ice Bucket Challenge would have happened. Pete just exudes strength and positivity. The family wraps around that, rallies around it, and again, it just spreads out like ripple effects in a pond and spreads out through the entire country and across 150 countries around the world.
Yeah, you mentioned that positivity that we see from the Frates family, and you look at the Boston community as well. They kind of rallied around Pete and his fight against ALS. What does that say about the people of Boston, the people of Boston College?
Well, the people of Boston, they're fighters. Pete is the ultimate fighter, and when Pete got his back up against the wall with this deadly disease, the entire city came out for him. His college, Boston College, came out for him. The Boston Red Sox have been incredibly helpful in the fight. It's not just Pete's fight anymore. It's everybody's fight. And the great thing is that it was called Lou Gehrig's disease. It's going to be called Pete Frates' cure.
Wow. That's really special. I'm sure his family loves to hear that. That's something that they're trying to bring home as well. Thank you so much for your time, Casey.
Thank you for having me.
Boo, up to you.
All right, guys, thanks very much. And obviously, it's been well documented the impact that the Ice Bucket Challenge has had on ALS awareness, but a really cool thing for Casey to join with Pete to write that book and help spread the word even more. And a cool story.
150 countries, is that what he said?
Over.
Wow.
Yeah. It's impressive the power of social media, and
Yeah.
Pete knew it, and then his father said it. He said he wanted to be able to utilize it the best possible way.
Over to first. Ahearn gets over. 1, 2, 3. Go the Eagles. End of 3. BC by a run. NFL draft coming up. Back here at Fenway Park in Boston. The 7th annual ALS awareness game. All right, so here are the top draft prospects baseball-wise.
On the college side.
Yeah,
Casey Mize, I mean, really universally seen as the first pick right now. Right-hander for Auburn, who has been unbelievable this year. Travis Swaggerty, the outfitter from South Alabama. Omaha kid, Alec Bowman there from Wichita State, big power hitting third baseman. Nick Madrigal, who's healthy again, the second baseman for Oregon State, playing again this weekend. And Shane McClanahan, left-hander from South Florida, that's been up to 99 this year.
Ooh.
Mize is special, huh?
Oh, it's
got the control.
There's
split finger.
Too often, yeah, fastball. He's a real, four-pitch guy. Fastball, split finger, breaking ball's real. There's not too many times too much before the draft to where everybody that you talk to on the scouting side says, that guy's the first pick. And that's exactly what Mize is. That guy is the first pick.
I don't see too many guys in college throwing a splitter.
No, and it's one of the reasons. The other thing that you don't see is that last number, 94 strikeouts and 6 walks.
Wow.
For a mid-90s fastball with a splitter, and it really is, it's 4 pitches, but the split is the one that separates. Control is off the charts, though.
Strikeout there. And number 4 for Metzdorf.
Is he one of those guys that can easily just go straight to the big league?
He's the quickest arm from a starter standpoint. I mean, you can always get that reliever that's a 2-pitch power guy that you can push through a system. But from a starter standpoint, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, you could take, there's nights you could watch Mize, you could plug him in a big league game and not even blink. And I think they can push him as fast as they want to.
Check swing, appeal to first, and go. Mike Salvatore. Looks like grew up playing travel ball with BC second baseman Jake Alou. Both those guys from New Jersey. Historically, FSU doesn't do a ton of recruiting in the Northeast, do they?
No. Historically, it's Florida State's more of Central Florida up, Georgia area. Used to be a lot of sometimes Northern California stuff.
They got a good one out of Georgia about 20 years ago. J.D. Drew was a Georgia kid, wasn't he?
J.D. Drew, Stephen Drew.
Yeah.
Line foul.
Best one out of all is Buster Posey, though.
Yeah. Closer and a shortstop.
Yeah. You know who else closed there? Was Winston. Jameis Winston play right field. Then come in and close, going about 96.
Metzdorf taking his time, delivers. And a walk. Thing I love, Stephen Drew has one of the better nicknames. Dirt was what he was nicknamed. And he got that, I guess, when he was fairly young, just from following JD around all the time. But the part that I loved asking Stephen about it late in his career is that when he goes over to JD's house,
it's still Dirt.
Still Dirt.
Uncle Dirt to the
really?
kids. Is Uncle Dirt coming
Perfect.
over?
Oh, that's classic.
I have a friend who his car stays kind of messy. He could be an Uncle Dirt type of guy.
0-1 to Luke. I took Boog to the stadium years ago. All right, in Omaha.
Okay.
I'll take the rest of the story here. I get in the car. I look around. As soon as I get in their car, I go, "Whoa, Pigpen, clean up the car."
It's lived in.
Is that the last time he gets into your car?
Take a cab, man.
I mean, but there was just, like, we could have gone, like, fishing for 4 days with all the stuff that was in the car.
Into
we
the
could have gone, like,
been stranded.
skeet shooting if we wanted. We
Never
could
know.
have probably fielded, like, a 5-person baseball team.
That's called preparation. That's what that is. I mean, you never know what you're going to run into. And
yeah, I mean,
at some point, you'd have thanked me. You just didn't then.
John Shelby, Eduardo Perez, and Uncle Dirt.
I get a buddy that we used to call Dirt, too, Adam Christensen. Maybe they got it from Adam. Yeah.
Could be.
Probably didn't. But we called him Dirt, too.
That's hammered left field towards the monster and off the top of the wall. And that one just missed getting out.
Jackson Luke, beautiful pure swing from both sides of the plate. Pitch stays up. He thinks it's gone, and this is why this ballpark is known more for the doubles and the home run. This ball, that ball's out in many ballparks. That high wall played beautifully in left field by Chris Gallen.
That ball's out in Tallahassee.
Oh yeah, ball's gone. Ball's hitting the new scoreboard out there.
6 double this year. He leads Florida State with 10 home runs. So he knows what that feels like. Thought he got his 11th right there. Noel's back in business again.
Down the run, second and third, one out. Metzdorf.
We talk about third time around the lineup a lot. This is now Metzdorf's third time around the lineup. Both guys already on base. Seen him 3 times.
Applin a kid too. I mean, he wasn't going to play every day. Tyler Holton was going to be the everyday first baseman the days that he wasn't pitching. Applin was going to play first the days that Holton was pitching. Tyler Holton goes down the first series of the year. Applin plugged in at first base, and he's been more than serviceable. He's been outstanding, hitting third in this lineup right now. On base percentage above 450. They needed it. We talk a lot about losing your ace. Lost the middle of the lineup hitter at the same time when they lost Tyler Holton.
Right field, Swazi back, fighting the sun, able to make the catch. Run comes in, and we are all tied up, 5-5.
That's a great play by Swazi. That's not an easy outfield to play in right field with the sun the way it is. He had to go back, took his eye off it, and when he looked up, boy, was he fortunate to catch this one right here. Gets down low, gets above the angle of the sun to catch that baseball.
Applin hit that ball pretty well. Now the Frates family looking on. Pete watching. And one of the things that Mike Gambino talked about in terms of Pete Frates as a player, he played hockey in high school, and he was a good hockey player, but the energy that he brought, Mike said he's like a hockey player playing baseball. And I mean, just a real, put it this way, he was the guy, if you were on the other team, you didn't love him so much usually.
But you loved him when he played with you.
Big time.
You remember playing with guys like, you never forget playing with guys like that.
No doubt.
Yeah, they drive you crazy on the other side, but man, you want them standing next to you.
That's right. Yeah, I would say that from all the people that I've talked to, that defines him as a player. You wanted Pete Frates on your team.
Yeah, Boog, Coach Mike Gambino called Pete Frates an absolute animal, said his athleticism, aggression, and work ethic really set him apart from everyone else, and that's exactly how he's approached his fight against ALS. You know, when Pete found out his diagnosis, he said to his family, "What a great opportunity we have to change the world. He said we have to keep our heads up. I don't want any moping from anyone. We need to look at this in a positive way, and that's exactly what he's done with the Ice Bucket Challenge and the awareness and the funds he's helped raise. That attack mentality and work ethic has stayed with him long after his playing days.
Molly, you went to school with him. I mean, he was a certifiable big man on campus, wasn't he?
I think those were the words I used in last year's ALS awareness game. He was the big man on campus. Pete lights up every room that he enters, and he has such a wonderful smile, and he truly was the definition of a big man on campus. And of course, he's the perfect person to be the face for a disease like this, because he's able to raise awareness. He's not afraid to fight this publicly. A lot of people would probably want to save some of their energy. Pete's not all about that. He's about doing this for others to make it better for those after him who are diagnosed as well.
Oh, good stuff. And you talking to Coach Gambino pregame, and one of the things I remember that he talked to us about from last year, and Coach Gambino echoed it basically today, where he said we don't use Pete as motivation to win games. We use Pete as motivation for who we want to be, what we want to be. Profound to be sure, but a compliment, and pretty incredible thing to say.
You talk about that fight, and talking about Mike Gambino yesterday and some today. That's the way that he said we need to play all the time. He said, you line up against Florida State, they're probably going to have a little bit more talent than we do, but ultimately within this league, we've got to play with more fight every day. They've got to be aggressive on the base pass.
Three-two now. Went breaking ball.
So Mike Gambino 2 years ago just about did something that would have shocked the entire baseball world. Boston College goes to Oxford, Mississippi as a 3 seed in the regional. They sweep the regional, head down to Miami, one of the most storied programs in college baseball, and take Miami to a game 3 in a super regional. Had a first rounder on that team, Justin Dunn, who ended up going 19th overall to the Mets, who I heard today, then you saw them when they were down there. So Miami's home, you're out at dinner some night, you walk in, and there's the draft party for Justin Dunn.
It's the draft is going on.
Yeah.
And we're at a big restaurant, and all of a sudden, Justin gets selected, and I hear an unbelievable ruckus in the background. And it was the Boston College team having a party back there, and they were celebrating big time. And I actually ended up going to that game 3 later on to see the.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Hopped in the air, left field. Gallen coming on and makes the grab. Things tied 5-5. The ALS awareness game. The 7th annual ALS awareness game, and Governor Charlie Baker throwing out the first pitch. He tweeted, "The sun is shining here at Fenway as BC baseball and FSU baseball go head to head." Honored to throw out the first pitch and join Pete Frates, Sam Kennedy. Sam Kennedy is the president of the Boston Red Sox and really one of the main guys to help facilitate this game being played here.
We talked to Mike Gambino about that yesterday, and he said Sam Kennedy's been so influential in it, and reached out to Mike and said, listen, it's important to the Red Sox. Clearly it is, and something that they plan to do here at this ballpark every year.
Jake Palomaki so far in this one has had a pretty good day. A walk and a run scored, a single, a steal, and a run scored.
Tyler Ahearn's brought a little stability, at least for Florida State. Comes out of the bullpen in the third, goes 1-2-3, 2 groundouts and a fly ball out. Throwing strikes, stuff's good. He's been in the low to mid 90s.
Gets another. 1 up, 1 down, and tomorrow on ABC, NBA playoff game 4 doubleheader lined up for you at 1 Eastern. The Bucks trying to even the series against the Celtics in Milwaukee, and then 3:30 it's the Warriors going for the sweep, taking on the Spurs in San Antonio. Coverage starts NBA countdown at 12:30.
We got playoff hockey in town here tonight too, don't we?
Yeah. A little
Bruins and the Leafs.
Never been to a playoff hockey.
Really?
Have to go over, neither have I.
Maybe Boog being a big man on campus here at Boston College. Maybe.
His town, you would think he could make a phone call, maybe take care of something. It doesn't seem like that's happened yet.
I don't remember proclaiming to be a big man on campus. The stat, call up Wischusen and Tessitore. Tessitore's calling Monday Night Football. Molly's got the connections, I'm sure, as well. Fly ball right field. And the grab made by Wells.
So you're saying you can't get the tickets? Is that what you're saying?
It's going to be more than a phone call.
You didn't even try.
I don't have the juice.
I mean, it's like punting on 3rd down. Try. Try harder.
Jeez. Jack Cunningham now. Cunningham, a 2-run single, and he is grounded out. John Shambi, Eduardo Perez, Cal Peterson, Molly McGrath. Delighted you could join us from Boston's Fenway Park. Our ALS awareness game.
It's neat to be here. I know we were talking about the kids' reaction when they come in this ballpark. I haven't been in here in a while. And you forget how cool this place is. You really do.
We came, the TV trucks here are in the right field corner, and we were walking and going to start to kind of curl around to go back behind home plate underneath the stands. But we walked past one of the entrances that comes out to right field that is a spectacular view. And as we're walking, and I just said to you, oh, you need to walk out there.
Yeah, go that way.
Because just to come out, you basically come out in the corner out there, but you come out, kind of by the bullpen right over there. And the whole field
opens just
up.
Opens up to you right when you come in.
Really cool. First base runner allowed by Tyler Ahearn.
First time I came to this ballpark, I want to say it was 1980, when my dad signed with the Red Sox, and came up and saw that wall and said, "There's no way anyone can hit it over this wall." And obviously, I'd known the history and everything, and I was like, "Wow, that's just a majestic blast." Fast forward, you get to the major leagues, you're like, "Okay, there are 2 things I have to do: hit a home run in Yankee Stadium." The old Yankee Stadium,
right,
and hit a home run here in this ballpark. Obviously, Wrigley. You know what? Was finally able to do it. This was the last task. Able to hit a home run here, rounding the bases. I took my time.
That's awesome.
I took my time. Change up.
That is great. Yeah, I'm sure it's funny as a kid. So what were you in 1980? You were what, 10?
I was 10 years old. 10, about to turn 11.
No one can hit it over that wall. It's too big. It's
but
too far.
You run around. You run around, and this was my backyard in the summer. Come with my dad.
Think about that, man. How cool is that?
For 3 years.
Yeah.
This is for 3 years. 1980, 81, and 82.
Little dribbler along third.
That game that I gave up a home run right away to Alfonso Soriano that you were talking about. Our manager for that game was Lou Brock. in the futures game. And so for a kid, I mean, I was in AAA at the time, so I'd never been in the big leagues. I'd been in big league camp, but still to walk in, I remember Matt Damon was here because he had played in the softball deal, and he's in the clubhouse, and Lou Brock's your manager, and you're like, man, what is going on? It was that kind of the first moment where you're like, this is really, really cool.
Now, something not many people get to experience. You guys went up on the monster too.
Yeah.
Here's a 1-2. Center field, Albert. And that one getting knocked down a little bit by the wind. BC leaves a man into 4, tied up.
Welcome back to Fenway Park for Boston College's 7th annual ALS awareness game, and I'm joined right now by BC's senior pitcher Carmen Gianpetruzzi, and you're a captain of this team, an honor that was also bestowed upon Pete Frates during his playing days. What has your team learned from Pete?
Pete teaches us everything. He's the guy that showed us how to be good people. He's got character, toughness, and class. We pride ourselves in being like that, so Pete's amazing.
Character, toughness, and class. Your coach, Mike Gambino, would say that you personified those things as well. It's rare to see a pitcher wearing a single-digit number. Tell me about the significance of wearing the number 8.
Number 8 means everything to me. I looked up to the guys that wore it before me. Johnny Adams wore it the past 2 years, and he does everything right on and off the baseball field, and I try to do that and resemble Sonny Niktakis, who it's named after. So it's awesome.
Now, Coach Gambino said that the team started to kind of refocus themselves a little bit this week. What's the key to getting this year back on track?
We just talked about it, just coming from within the clubhouse, just sticking together, and we pitched it well some games, we hit it well, and now we're going to put it all together, and we'll make a run at the end of the year.
All right, thanks for your time, Carmen. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Boog, over to you.
All right, thanks, guys. I think the other part of this whole thing that's neat is, you're talking about a guy, Pete Frates, who played back 04 through 07. It's a while ago. The culture and the impact that he has helped with as far as Boston College baseball, I mean, it's huge. It's 2018, and he has a huge impact on the culture of this team. Into left field, that's a base hit.
Well, that's not going anywhere. I mean, it's you just feel like it's only going to continue to grow, especially with events like this and the awareness that has been brought to the disease and the fight and everything else about it.
By the way, Stephen Wells can hit.
Yeah.
Double walk, single right there.
Came in with a 474 on base.
Reach base all 3 times a day.
Cobi Johnson here. Johnson the DH. Where does FSU fit in terms of in the ACC and an opportunity for postseason play for you?
I mean, very solid. I think with a decent, they're 99 in the league coming in. The RPI's right where you would want it to be. It's 11, 12, right in that range. I mean, if they get hot, it's a team that absolutely could host. 16 hosts, so 16 4-team regionals, and this year for the first year, 1 through 16 will be seeded. Used to just be 1 through 8, and then the other 8 were kind of slotted wherever. This year they'll seed 1 through 16. But the good finish, and especially the way that this league is, Florida State absolutely has a chance. NC State's in the best spot in this league right now and should be a national seed.
Coach Avent brought his group here for the ALS game last year. And at first, nobody out. Top 5 were tied at 5.
The fight right now for Boston College is to make sure that they make the conference tournament. That's the biggest thing. Then at least you have a fighting chance. 12 of the 14 in the ACC make that conference tournament. Mike Gambino's club 2 years ago, just 1 win away from going to Omaha.
Crazy.
I was telling the story yesterday. They had already set up a tent for orientation on their field. So they go down to play to Miami in the Super Regionals, and there's a tent on their field. If they had won, they were going to have to figure out a place to come back and practice before they went to Omaha to play for the national championship. And they've had some success here now. I mean, you've got Justin Dunn, the kid that you walked in on the draft party a few years ago, 19th pick to the Mets in 2016. MLB.com has him rated as the number 2 prospect in the Mets system. Chris Shaw went 31st overall to the Giants in 2015. Hit 24 home runs last year between AA and AAA. MLB.com has him ranked the number 1 prospect in the Mets system. So you get, in the Giants system. So you get 2 that are going to be knocking at the door here pretty quick. Shaw in AAA, Dunn back in A-ball, but has started strong. 19 strikeouts his first 14 innings this year for Dunn.
Time called. Coach Gambino coming out.
In a new ballpark now, too. And that matters.
Yeah, no doubt.
A lot.
And we got ourselves a pitching change. Florida State with a threat here in the 5th. New pitcher coming in. Introducing ESPN Plus, your home for more sports, more schools, more conferences, more ESPN. Stream ESPN Plus exclusively on the ESPN app for $4.99 a month. Sign up now for ESPN Plus. All right, new pitcher, Joey Walsh into the game. So lefty replaces lefty in the stocky southpaw on here from Plymouth, Massachusetts.
First guy's out of both bullpens today, freshman. Tyler Ahearn's thrown the ball well since coming out of the Florida State bullpen. Now for Boston College, kind of the same thing. Just looking for a little bit of consistency right here. Keep it where it is. 29 in the 3rd innings, 24 strikeouts, 16 walks this year for the freshman lefty.
Nick Durr has already rolled over twice to the shortstop. Exactly what Boston College needs right now. Ground ball, try to get 2. Walsh has to keep the ball down.
So 2 on, nobody out. Durr 0 for 2 as mentioned. Tied at 5. FSU with 5 hits in this game. BC with 4. Seminoles with the only error.
Might see an inside move here just to see if Durr will square around.
They had a wild one last night, these two teams did. FSU prevailing 13-12. Fouled out of play. Everybody has basically continued to migrate to the sun. It's not like they just keep moving to the sun.
Oh, they're going to end up over there in the
Yeah.
Williams seat. The bleachers.
Yeah. Out towards right center field. That is well struck. Swazi can't get it. It's going to get all the way to the fence. Wells and Johnson behind him will stop at 3rd. And it's a double for Durr.
And a really good piece of hitting by Durr. Already 2 ground balls to the shortstop. This time, fastball right down the middle. Goes the other way with it, shows his power. Outfield playing straight up. And really good base running also by Durr. as Mike Martin Jr. holding up Cobi Johnson at third base. He's looking up. He sees him raise his hand and stays at second, because if not, it would have been an easy triple for Durr.
A lot of space out there in right center.
Space. Uh-oh. Space there. That one hurts.
Yeah, no doubt. Albert gets plunked, and the bases are loaded. A cold afternoon. Well, not cold, but
chilly.
That's
warmer than last year.
Oh, last year.
I can tell you this: it's warmer in the sun.
That's
by
true.
the fans. Keep migrating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a perfect angle where they're sitting. Spotlights on. There are no people in the shade there. Watch, it's perfect.
Smart.
Diving stab at third. Low throw, nice pick by Cunningham. And the run comes in.
I think he thought it was hit a little harder than what it was. Dives, comes up. Probably would have had to play a force out at home. Instead goes to first base. Making a nice play over there, the pick.
Jack Cunningham, I mean, getting as low as he can and waiting as long as he possibly can to have to make that play.
This is where it gets dangerous. Jackson, look, you do not have to give him anything good to hit.
Missed a home run by about 4 feet out to left center field his last time up, doubled off the top of the monster.
Back up the middle. That'll score 1. Coming around is Albert. It scores 2. And Florida State on top here. So from 5-5, now it's 9-5 Florida State.
Jackson took advantage of that first pitch, driving in 2. First base open. He said,
Walsh fires. Talked earlier about this game and the money raised through ticket sales going to the Pete Frates Home Healthcare Initiative. And that obviously something really personal to the Frates family, and everybody in their family works hard for the cause. Walsh back to work and gets the swing and the miss there.
They had 3,600, just over 3,600 last year. That was the biggest crowd they had. Looks like they got more than that this year. High school game before this was the same thing. All that money donated to the same cause.
Staying warm in the suite. EC hoping to use some of the Fenway magic that the Red Sox have had in the early going.
17-2 for Alex Coro's club, huh?
Well, 17-2, and they lost opening day.
Yeah. I think I told you this. The first time I played against Alex, we were 10 years old. 10 years old. We played in a
tournament?
10-year-old tournament in the middle of Ohio. And then they came and played in that same tournament when they were 12 in Omaha.
And do you remember him as a player?
Yeah, he was a shortstop then. It was as smooth as you could be. Yes, I absolutely remember the impact his father had too. His dad had a huge impact on baseball in Caguas.
Big time.
Yeah.
Believed in the education aspect of it. That's why Joey ended up going to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Alex to Miami. That's what I wish. More kids from Puerto Rico strive to go and play college ball. I think
that would be great.
I've been pushing as much as possible. Everyone's fascinated by the draft in Puerto Rico, but not everyone makes it. But this to be able to get an education, to be able to be a student athlete, it's priceless.
Well, how did that end up being your path?
I was actually Luis Rosas, which had signed many players from the Alomar brothers to Baerga to Ruben Sierra, Juan Gonzalez. He actually came up to me and said, I want you to play on our team and you will sign professionally. I said, I can't. I have to go to college. I said, that's what I want to do. So he made one call to Rod Delmonico, which was at the time the Florida State head recruiter, then went on to Tennessee. And he brought me in on a recruiting visit.
Strikeout there. Mike Martin's team up by 4, and we'll visit with the Knowles skipper coming up.
At Fenway Park, Florida State taking on Boston College in the 7th annual ALS awareness game, and I'm here with Seminoles head coach Mike Martin. Coach, you're in your 39th season. You're close to becoming the winningest coach in college baseball history, yet you've never coached in a major league ballpark before. What's this experience like for you?
Well, we've had a number of experiences in the nice clubhouses in the Florida State League, playing down there. We played the Marlins and the Devil Rays a few times. We played the Yankees, but never in their ballpark, of course, because we just never had the opportunity. This is something that our young men will always remember. It's something I'll always remember. This is history right here, and it's fun to look around and see what all this ballpark encompasses.
And this is a special day for you and your team, and you guys have been doing an ALS awareness game even longer than Boston College has. How meaningful is it for you to be a part of something bigger than baseball?
Well, when I saw Pete today, Molly, I had a very hard time. Pete is such a wonderful, wonderful man. He loved to play against Florida State because he ripped us apart. But it just means so much to me when I first talked to Mike about it. It was very, very exciting for me to tell the guys, hey, we're going to play in Fenway.
Well, thank you for being here, Coach, and thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Molly.
Book, back to you.
So he has 4 more wins till he ties Augie Garrido 5. And then he becomes, as Molly said, the winningest coach in the history of college baseball. You played for him.
Played for him over 120 plus wins as Florida State Seminole. So, and he just teaches the fundamentals. That's what he does. He's adamant about it. We had bunting stations day in, day out. He was not going to lose because the team was not able to do the small ball.
The consistency, and obviously, Eddie, you were a part of it in the middle of it, but the consistency that he's had in this run, I mean, it's insane.
Well hit right center, and Wells pulls it down.
So for those 1,971 wins, every year he's been at Florida State, every year they've won at least 40 games. At least 40 games for 39 straight seasons, or what will be 39. And I love how he got the job. I mean, Dick Hauser was the head coach. So he's Dick Hauser's assistant. George Steinbrenner calls Dick Hauser and says, I want you to manage the Yankees. And at the time, as 11 will tell the story, I mean, I don't think he really thought that he was going to be the head coach. Next thing you know, they call him in. He's the head coach of Florida State. Here in a week or two, he's got a chance to have won more games than anybody in the history of the college game. He is as good a man as you will ever be around, too, man. You're not going to find too many enemies of that guy.
And he has so much energy.
Yes, still.
It really just translates to the players. And everyone that wears the uniform at Florida State, they want to be part of that team that gets not only to the World Series, but wins the World Series for him, because that's the thing, that's the dream he's been chasing.
So we're out there watching practice, or not practice, batting practice yesterday before they played game one. And he's standing talking to us, as he always does, and says, you know what, excuse me, I got to go coach for a minute. He walks over to third base. He's got 5 base, grabs 5 baseballs, and immediately is working on footwork with his third baseman. And that's what I love is yeah, I mean, the wins are great, and obviously he's been around there for a long time, but the reality is he's a teacher, and he's still a teacher of the game, and that's why he stayed in that dugout for as long as he has.
And he digs it.
Absolutely.
My experience with him has been limited, but I got to do a few of their games in Omaha, so you have those meetings.
Yeah.
And, he likes it.
We're doing a game. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I thought the only thing that he loved more than coaching was playing golf. Until the last few years, where the only thing he loves playing more golf is actually his grandkids. Okay. So it all translates. And then again, but the players is what keeps him going. Year in, year out. You look at the numbers right there. 0 titles. That's tough.
Yeah, only Texas and Miami with more CWS appearances.
So Dave Neal and I are doing Florida State in Jacksonville 3 weeks ago, standing on the field. Dave Neal looks at 11 and says, is this a club that you think has enough to get to Omaha? He's always so genuine and nice, and he stood straight up and looked us both straight in the eye and said, the day that I don't think we have enough talent to go to Omaha is the day that I stop doing this. I mean, the competitiveness, and he's so nice. But, man, he loves to compete.
In the air left field, that one down the line, and making the grab is Jackson Luke. Mike Martin's team up by 4. We played 5 here at Fenway. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Little ACC baseball from Boston's Fenway Park. And NC State top of the board at 14-5. Clemson, Wake Forest, and Louisville. Florida State at 9-9.
Big series in the league this weekend too. NC State and Duke. Duke, who has been outstanding this year. NC State leads the Atlantic. Duke leads the Coastal. NC State won game 1 yesterday, 9-2.
Was Wake Forest expected to be
lost a lot? They lost a lot from last. They were a super regional team last year. Went down to Florida and gave the Gators everything they wanted. They pushed them to game 3 in a super regional. North Carolina's been playing better as of late. I mean, it's always a league that you expect to see at least a team and sometimes multiple teams in Omaha at the end of the year.
So Mendoza getting a chance to hit here.
No relation to Jess, but yes, relation to Alex. Alex being his sister, which is a volleyball player at USF. She let us know quickly via Twitter. We got you, Alex. We got you.
Did she?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
She called us out.
Just clarified.
Yeah. That's funny. Walsh falling behind 3-0. And here it comes.
Green light.
How about it?
I like that.
Me too.
Up 4, top of the 6th inning. Kid's their power hitter. He had a big home run last year in Omaha.
He's got a chance to play for a while. I mean, he looks the part already.
He had a couple injuries last year early at third, then ended up playing first base. Dylan Busby was a third baseman.
Yeah.
Three-two now. And that one running inside. More baseball coming your way Sunday night on ESPN. The Nationals, the Dodgers from Dodger Stadium. Matt Excursion, Jessica Mendoza, Alex Rodriguez on the call. Also available on ESPN Radio.
Who we got? I think it's Alex Wood Hellickson. I think that's who it is. Wood for the Dodgers, Hellickson for the Nationals.
Yeah.
How many broken bat home runs have you seen in your life?
Well, it's funny because earlier in the season, Bonds, I was at a game that Bonds broke his bat and hit one into the right field seats in Miami. And earlier in the season, Chris Singleton asked me about the comp. Yeah, it is Wood and Hellickson tomorrow night. But asked me about a Harper Bonds comp. I was like, yeah, we might be reaching a little bit there. And not that what we saw the other night makes it so, but man, he's just different. That swing is he stays through the hitting zone for so long, has so much power. He's pretty incredible.
Okay, so I mean, you were a hitting coach in big leagues. There's a lot of movement in that swing.
A lot.
To me, it fascinates me that a guy that moves that much can be that consistent and that good. I mean, it's the talent is through the roof, man.
It's through the roof, hand-eye coordination. He has that, what the hitting coaches call the K, where he gets in a position, in a strong position when he lifts his leg up. That's when everything just becomes really quiet to him. And it really works for him. It's hard because you see Shohei Ohtani early on in spring training. He had so much movement. They're like, okay, eliminate that leg kick.
Yeah.
Just go straight, no leg kick, and it's worked for him.
Yep.
He's seen positive results. But with Bryce Harper, he's always had that K stuff that gets into that strong position, midsection, and from there he just takes off.
He's changed too at times though. Like he's gone, as that one ripped into left field, he's gone quiet, toe tapped for some stretches.
Right.
He's gone toe tapped for two-strike approach. To me, the part that I really love is there's no other way to say it. There's a violence to his swing that is entertaining.
Yes. It is.
Right?
It is. Mike Trout does not have that. Doesn't have that violence.
Yeah.
And I think people prefer to see the violence of Harper because the way his swing is.
Well, it looks like he's going to hit the ball 7,000 feet. He swings like he wants to hurt the ball. You know what I mean? Like
he has been.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like when Bonds used to say, catch the ball. He doesn't want to catch it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Catch the ball.
But he starts early enough that he has so much time to put that foot down and just create all that leverage.
Do you change your swing much the time that you play?
A little bit, yes. The hands. More hands than anything, and then I had to open up a little bit more too, and I realized that I had to adjust because I started making my living off left-handed pitching pretty much in what I call stage 2 of my career after I came back from Japan. So I got closer to the plate, at least the back foot got closer, and I wanted to pitch in. So choked up on the bat. Red Shandies from the Cardinals was a big influence on me with that.
Right field towards the corner, and that's a fair ball, and it ricochets around. 2 runs coming in, and that'll end up being a triple. And Florida State opening things up here at Fenway, 11-5 Knowles.
Welcome to Fenway Park.
Yeah.
That right there, when he hits this ball, he thinks it's a foul ball. He sort of stops a little bit after taking a couple steps. Oh no. And then all of a sudden it kicks off And Swazi has to run all by himself to chase this baseball. Right off the top of the wall, almost around the pesky pole. Ends up being an easy stand-up triple.
And now the infield comes in. Florida State has scored 10 runs in 3 straight games.
Good time to take the bunt off, too.
All right.
They haven't done that as much this year. Just 11 sack bunts on the year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
First time.
It's the first time this year they've scored 10 runs in 3 straight games.
That's what I was talking about.
I'm so tired of you.
I'm so confused.
We did a game here. Rick Sutcliffe, David Ross, and myself. And Rossi made a comment about Dancing with the Stars. And Sut and I just at the same time both audibly groaned. It was like, that. And Rossi goes, I know, I'm so sick of me. It was such a good line. I know, I'm so sick of me. Florida State up 11-5. Top 6 here. The 7th annual ALS awareness game. John Shelby, Kyle Peterson, Eduardo Perez, Molly McGrath, Mike Gambino, who was kind enough to join Molly right before first pitch. Heard from Mike Martin as well. And Mike Martin, who will break Augie Garrido's record, the late Augie Garrido, who just passed away recently.
Yeah. I was talking to Mike about that when we were in Jacksonville a few weeks ago, and just the respect that he has for Augie and all the things that Augie brought to the game well beyond the wins. He doesn't want to talk about the record, which I understand. I mean, it's not really his personality, but he doesn't want to talk about it much. But he's got a chance to potentially do it against Miami at home. And if you had to pick one to set the record against,
that's the one.
That'd have to be the one.
That has to be at home.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So one more here against Boston College, then one at Stetson on Tuesday, then 3 in a row next Friday, Saturday, Sunday at home against Miami.
Looked like that was up, probably ball 4.
Oh, Nick Durr's trying to hit it over that fence, over the green monster, and try to hit it into Alfonso Soriano territory. Where
here we go again. Thought we were way past that. Eddie. We were way past that.
Don't you?
Now you bring it back.
And the way,
right, but that's what you do. You circle back.
Who's you? Who's you?
That's what you do.
Speak of.
It was way over that parking garage too, wasn't it?
Little guy, big bat, got to be able to get a 2-seam.
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Where'd that go?
Hashtag 2-seamer in on his hands. And Reese Albert now. One down man at third, 2 runs already in. It's all Florida State right now. But as we documented, it was all Florida State yesterday, and BC down 8-1.
8-1 in the 5th.
Came back and eventually tied the game at 10. Line drive and a base hit into left field. And Albert knocks in their 12th run of the game. So the game last night was over there at Harrington Athletic Village at Brighton Fields. That's BC's new facility. Brand new. And their opener was March 20th. And it was much needed for Coach Gambino.
He was beaming about it yesterday. I mean, just how much of a game changer it is from a program, a recruiting standpoint, and honestly, the ability to get work done. I think that's the one thing that sometimes is forgot about. It's an all-turf field. And clearly the weather hasn't been cooperative at all up to this point. But now when you get all turf, I mean, A, you're not going to lose as many games, but B, you get more practices in. You don't have to worry about it as much in the fall. It allows you to develop more.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, look, and it's you guys played at elite level programs, and BC, is in the ACC and trying to get it to that space. But, I mean, BC played on a field that during football season,
They parked on it. Yeah.
I mean,
That's tough. It's hard to recruit a shortstop.
That's right.
There's a story, and I won't tell you who told me, but James Ramsey, former center fielder, was a first-round pick for Florida State when they were playing at the old field.
Right.
Found chicken bones in center field from a tailgate. I mean, so it's like that's
okay.
That's a different. That's a little different speed now.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, you don't find chicken bones for a tailgate. Just saying.
Yeah.
You're right. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, so then it's all tore up, and so now we got to make sure the outfield's right. I mean, it's one thing to lose games; it's another thing just to not flat be able to practice on it and get a bunch of stuff done. And that was the biggest thing that Mike Gambino was talking about is it gives us a better ability to develop guys because we can just get our hands on them more. We can do more things. You're not going to lose as many games. Obviously, it invites more people to get in there. It's a great setup. I mean, the softball was playing Notre Dame yesterday. The baseball game was going on at the same time. Kind of roam between the two and come hang out. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And let's face it, their recruiting and their strength was pretty much on the academic side. That's what they had to do. Academics, push that academics part. And oh, by the way, you're an athlete. You can come here and you can also play baseball. Now you can push both par to par. Where you have that athleticism, a great facility, and also be great in the classroom. Those are all pluses.
Here's John Witkowski, 14th appearance.
Back-to-back nights, went 28 pitches yesterday, 2 innings, gave up 2 runs, 1 earned. Florida State, 13 runs on 13 hits yesterday, 12 runs on 10 hits today.
Foul off first, and that was tough for Cunningham. Kyle, who are the best offensive clubs you've seen so far this year?
Had Kentucky the other day. They weren't particularly offensive this weekend, but it's one of the better offenses. Arkansas, who we'll have in a few weeks, Arkansas, Texas A&M, right at the end of the SEC series. Arkansas can scare you offensively. I'll tell you a team that'll surprise you that wasn't offensive last year, that really is this year. It's Florida. Florida's already hit more home runs this year than they did all of last year in a year that they won the national title. It's a totally different offense than they had last year. And they may have the National Player of the Year in Jonathan India.
How good has he been?
He's been real good. I mean, could be the first college position player taken in the draft. Kid that's playing third base now that when he gets into pro ball is probably going to play short. Has real power. I think he can stick in the middle of the diamond, and he has shot up draft boards in the last month and a half.
Left field. Gallen coming on. Puts the squeeze on that.
Around the country, these are the guys that I think are right in the middle of the mix. Brett Kinnaman from NC State's 13 home runs. Andrew Vaughn from Cal's having another huge year out west. Casey Mize, we've already shown you the numbers. 94 strikeouts, 6 walks on the year for Casey Mize. Some teams that maybe we don't see every year is hosting that should this year. East Carolina, Indiana's in a great spot in the Big Ten. The Big Ten as a whole has been great. And then number 11, just 4 wins away from passing Augie Garrido. 1,971 all-time wins from Mike Martin coming in today. Cardinals playing well too now. Stanford number 2 in the country, won the opener against Arizona and Tucson yesterday.
How come the coaches get nicknamed by their numbers in college baseball?
Do you know the 11 story? I don't.
With his number, no, I do not. I do not know it. All I know is when I got to Florida State, I used to hear everybody say 11, 11. I was like, what are they talking about? I had no idea. And then finally I figured it out, but I did not know because he used to wear pullover all the time.
There is no 11 out there. What are they talking about?
Why did they call him 11?
Guys are crazy.
Well, and what do they call the coach that you played for?
Yeah, Stanford's longtime head coach Mark Marquis. Everybody called him 9. And that was, from day one, that's what it was.
Just Niner or 9?
Both 9er, 9-piece. Nobody ever called him 9-piece.
No?
He probably wouldn't. That wouldn't work. 9.
9. You're a dope. 9-piece.
No, they didn't do that.
It's amazing because Mike Martin's son, Mike Martin Jr., everybody refers to him as Meat.
Yeah. Guy used to throw in the trash can.
Meat. And then the other, before Meat at third base, used to be Chip Baker, which everybody calls him Big Shooter. He refers to himself as Big Shooter, too. Third person.
If people gave me the nickname Big Shooter, I would refer to myself as Big Shooter, too.
You would?
Yeah. All the time.
I would agree.
Nobody's ever done that, though.
Red Applin now. All Florida State, number 18 team in the country, up 12-5 on BC, top 6. And Witkowski deals up and away. John Shambi, Kyle Peterson, Eduardo Perez, Molly McGrath on a nice day here in Boston from Fenway Park and the 7th annual ALS awareness game. In the dirt. Almost came off the base. I think Martellini did about as well as you can do in that spot to block. And get a quick throw off. Probably just need a little lower throw. Two and one to Applin. The seniors knocked in a couple today. Bounces this one right side. Gobbled up there by Alou.
More than a Triple Crown winner or an MVP, more than the Iron Horse or the Yankee icon, in the midst of a disease that would come to bear his name and take his life, he will forever be defined most by a speech he gave to a stunned stadium and by the title he gave himself.
The luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Lou Gehrig, an ALS warrior.
Back here for our ALS awareness game. There's another ALS warrior right there. Pete Frates. Mentioned last year, Chris Combs was here with us. A lot of warriors out there. Oh, coming back. Pete, who was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease March of 2012. I know I got another buddy who's watching, Craig Colby, who's another ALS warrior, big Red Sox fan, Jason Clement. And both those guys battling ALS, and just want to say hi to all of them. Up the middle, and that'll get through for a knock. So Swazi on base. Ahearn's done a pretty good job, hasn't he? I mean, this game was kind of back and forth early on, and he's come in and settled it down.
Well, listen, I mean, the day after yesterday, there was 469 combined pitches between the two pitching staffs. 234 for Florida State, 235 for Boston College. So the bullpens are beat up, and you get a freshman who's come in who honestly has not thrown a ton of strikes this year.
Yeah,
I mean, a walk an inning for Ahearn, basically. He faced one over the minimum in the first 3 innings. That was the first hit he gave up. They just needed some consistency, and Ahearn gave it to him.
Kyle, at the risk of producing, directing, doing play-by-play and color, hold that up near the camera so that they can see what's on the side of the baseballs. We just showed you that Rawlings baseball, the NCAA baseball, but on the side of the baseballs that are being used here today, yeah, it says strikeout ALS. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Nice job. Turned your hand well. It's our hand model, Kyle Peterson.
Thank you. A double bill for this one.
Sometimes I use talkback, sometimes I don't.
It's right after he said at the risk of producing, directing.
Yeah, that's how I said it.
All the above.
I've done it before. I did it to our Wednesday night baseball director, Jimmy Platt. We were doing a game. I wanted a shot of the Diamondbacks' new uniforms. They had something on like the bottom edge of their pants, and he cuts to the shot of the front of the low angle front of their pants, and I said on the air, "No, Jimmy, the backside shot."
Works.
Stay hot.
Everybody's got their own route.
2 on, nobody out. FSU leading this one 12-5. And top of the order, Jake Polamaky has walked, singled, and he has also struck out. He has scored twice. Here from Boston Fenway Park, the 7th annual ALS awareness game.
I wouldn't be surprised if this young man's getting a little tired out there. Coming into this game, had only thrown 10 2/3 innings on this season as a freshman. Base hit and a walk on 4 pitches, and now at least has been able to throw a strike. He needs to get a ground ball here.
Gobbled up at first. Applin handles it. There's another player out there with close ties to Pete Frates playing D1 college baseball.
I wear the number 3 because of Pete Frates. That's the number he wore when he was playing for my dad at Boston College. And he's been a role model for me basically my whole life. I try to honor him by wearing this number. If I'm ever having a bad day, I just kind of look down at my number and I'm like, if Pete wearing my shoes, what would he be doing? That's something that really means a lot to me, having that number on my back.
Hal's dad, Pete, was a head coach at Boston College, went on to Oklahoma, now the volunteer assistant coach at Georgia, and Hal's starting at shortstop for LSU this year as a freshman. It was cool to hear him talk about that. Had him against A&M a few weeks ago. Clear that Pete had a massive impact on Hal Hughes at a real young age.
Whoa. A wild pitch. Run comes in. Swazi scores to make it 12-6.
Eddie, you had said it just a minute ago. Now this is the longest outing of the year for Tyler Ahearn. Before that, it was 3 innings against Wake Forest. Now gone 3 1/3 in this one. That's the first run he's given up, but he's got a lot of outs, and that's what they needed. Just some consistency, and Ahearn's given it to him.
comes 11.
By the way,
gloves off,
I really dig Florida State spikes.
Yeah?
Yeah, the garnet spikes are pretty, I think they're pretty awesome. Those are cool. Come on.
Yeah. They are. Let me know. I can hook you up.
Oh for 2 on talkback last 2 times.
Eddie was head to toe gear last year in Omaha. We had a little suitcase malfunction. Didn't show up.
Lost the suitcase to this day.
MIA.
Unis. Wait a second. What?
MIA.
We came to Omaha. Lost it, left it, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it could be a variety.
Left then lost. No, left then stolen.
Gone.
He gone.
So
you left it on the carousel?
It's a longer story. I don't think it's a story that we should say with 1 out. It should be with no outs that we should say.
Don't Vin Scully me. Just look. I want to know.
Okay, what happened? I was on the day 1 of a 22-day road trip.
Efficient. Let's what? How'd you lose it?
Well, I went to LAX. Left the suitcase there because I never travel with a suitcase. I always go with carry-on. That's why it's important to say day 1 out of 22. Leave the suitcase there, get the car from the car rental place, drive to Anaheim. When I get to Anaheim, I'm like, oh, left the suitcase. Not good. Called LAX. They said, suitcase is here. We got it for you. I said, perfect. I'll go get it after the game. Went after the game to go get it. And the suitcase was nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Next morning, I'm flying out to Omaha.
Okay.
We looked for the suitcase for a few hours. Crickets. Get to Omaha. End up getting a belt from Kyle.
Stole a belt.
I did. Ended up then going to do a little shopping, and then the Florida State Seminoles on their way from Tallahassee took care of me. Big shooter was part of it.
He's got connections. I mean, you want spikes, he can get you spikes.
I can get you spikes.
So he had a closet full of gear in like an hour.
Yeah.
I think he can get you
taken care of. Now, it was uncomfortable because you're taking care of all the teams, and you don't want to be biased.
Yeah.
So walking around singing a fight song made it a little bit obvious. But
it was a little tough.
Just wear the unit.
You wear that garnet, you wear that gold, and it's just But it's okay.
So that's what you wore that entire week was Florida State stuff?
Pretty much that, and I had to go to Costco and
he did a little shopping.
I did. I only got
Omaha Economy.
Underwear,
Omaha Economy got a good
socks,
boost. It was perfect.
Wow. Underwear. Got some pants that were a little too big on me, but Kyle took care of me with a belt.
That's what partners do.
Yeah.
Left the suitcase.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, do you always check in a suitcase?
No.
Now, just imagine that day you check it in, you're like, oh, there's a car rental bus, and you run to it, and then you just totally forgot. I had my carry-on with me.
I think the thing that I would say is, normally
suits.
I don't check a suitcase, but then sometimes I do.
But if I did,
then I get it.
I would get it into the car.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. There's 2 lines in Spanish that say "mala mia." You know what "mala mia" means? My bad.
You know what "wego" means?
Wega? What's
Wego.
a wega? What's a wego?
Wego. Okay. That's what it means.
Foul tipped into the mitt of Raleigh. Kyle Peterson, more Spanish lessons coming up.
CC.
The end of the 7th.
Fenway Park is the home of the 7th annual ALS awareness game here in Boston as BC is taking on Florida State. And I'm here with Seminoles pitcher and first baseman Tyler Holton. And Tyler, only 66 pitches into the season. You go down with an injury. But what has stepping away from the game and kind of watching things taught you so far this year?
Definitely seeing the game through a different perspective this year. But still trying to do whatever I can to pick the guys up, teach them some lessons. The young guys. We got 2 freshmen go so far throwing this game, and I mean they've been doing a great job filling up the strike zone, and but just trying to do whatever I can to still be a part of the team.
Yeah, you've been very active here in the dugout, talking to the guys, coaching them up a little bit. So let's put your coaching hat on. What are your thoughts on the pitching so far in this game?
Doing well. I mean, they've given up some runs, but definitely in pressure situations, staying out of some big innings, and that's helped us so far.
You know that BC can come back. They did that last night. What do your guys need to continue to do?
Definitely keep the foot on the pedal, fill up the strike zone, make them hit the ball. You know, no freebies, and play some solid defense.
What's it like being here at Fenway?
Incredible. I've actually been fortunate to come here once and attend a game one time, but seeing this place, it never gets old, and it's an incredible atmosphere just to be here and to have the people supporting us. I mean, pretty good crowd in my eyes. Is fun to play in front of.
I was surprised to learn that your coach Mike Martin has never coached at a major league ballpark before, so he was a little jazzed to be here at Fenway. What has he meant to you in your career?
He's definitely, I always say, he's like a grandfather figure, and he's always got some wise words to calm you down, whether he's going out there to talk to you on the mound or just after, you know, you might have experienced something, ups and downs. But definitely he's taught all of us a lesson, and he's the core of the program, and it's incredible what he's done.
Yeah, it definitely is. Tyler, thank you so much for your time. Book, back to you.
Molly, Tyler, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves coming to this place. I guess maybe if you're a Yankee fan, you don't love it, but it's pretty special. I mean, it's like you're being placed into a time machine to some extent. And, you know, they've made a ton of new ballparks, and plenty of them are great. San Francisco's one of the best parks you could go see a game. But this place is so unique and so special. It really is. It's one of those spots that I every time I get a chance to do a game here,
it's fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
It really is.
That's why I love what the Red Sox are doing with this too. I mean, obviously the cause is amazing, where the money is going and the additional eyes that it puts on raising awareness for ALS, but it adds a massive new level to it when it's here.
No question.
And you get other kids a chance to experience this ballpark, and we get another reason to come back and hang out here for a while.
Thanks to the Red Sox and Sam Kennedy for all of their help. Now, they've been very supportive of Pete Frates and the ALS Association Home Health Care Initiative, which is the Pete Frates Home Health Care Initiative. Here's Alex Mendoza's brother.
No relation to Jess.
Drew.
Wow,
that was teamwork.
Bang. 7 innings. We're figuring this thing out.
Yeah, we are. I'll give you an example. One of the better stories I have of someone being starstruck in this place. And it was probably, say, 5 or 6 years ago. Line drive caught out of the air at short by Alou. And Raleigh scrambles back to first. Steph Curry was here. He had his bachelor party here. Like, that's what he wanted. He's a big Red Sox fan.
Really?
And this was before he'd become Steph Curry. And he was on the field during BP. And different players were kind of being brought over to him. And the look on his face just watching guys hit and looking around the park. But then the best part was, and I was standing right there so I could still see it. There is something cool about watching an athlete in person be starstruck by another athlete?
Yes.
And when he met David Ortiz, Ortiz gave him a bat, started asking him questions, and he turned Steph Curry into a 10-year-old.
That's cool.
I mean, it's straight up into a 10-year-old. Like, he was just, his eyes were wide, and he was at Fenway Park. It was a neat thing to observe.
It's just authentic.
Yeah, that's right. 2-1 in there for a strike count even.
See Stephen Wells right there. He thought that one was inside. It's a really good idea of the strike zone. On-base percentages are ridiculous. The high 400s.
Stephen Wells has reached base 17 of his last 18 times. 17 of his last 18 times. The only time that he didn't reach base in that was a sac bunt. That was yesterday.
That's crazy.
That's a good run.
What's his up to the minute OBP? I mean, he started at 474.
Been on 4 times already today?
Well, please.
Yeah. 489 is what sources tell me. Looks like they wheeled the abacus into the truck.
Carry the 1. 489.
FSU leading at 12-6. 2-2 now. On the ground is short. And that one off of Palomaki and out into center field.
Even when he rolls over to shortstop, he gets on base.
18 and 19. I think Palomaki might have peaked a little bit right here, thinking there's potentially a chance for 2, and ball just kind of crawls up on him, and what looked like it could be 2 turns into first and third, 1 out for Florida State.
This field used to be notorious as one of the worst playing surfaces going. At least for the people that I talk to now, not the case now. Said it's fine now.
No, it's changed. They resurfaced this field. They changed it all up. Even the grass has changed. They changed the style of dirt. They've done a fantastic job here. But you're right. This was a scary place to play.
And when you play it, and it's interesting, it's different now. But when you guys played, there were different fields. Like, everybody loved going to Dodger Stadium because just the playing surface is nice and easy, no bad hops. In 2018 in the majors, everybody's field's good.
Wrigley was always a slow infield,
right? With the high grass and the turtle was the other thing that they had on their whole field.
And if you look at a field at the beginning, it was all about the Kansas City Royals. Their infield was great. It was fantastic. Everyone always looked forward to catching ground balls there. True hops.
One, 2 now. Witkowski, the third pitcher used by Mike Gambino. Dan Metzdorf started it, turned it over to Walsh. And Witkowski here from Boston's Fenway Park. Little college baseball for you. Nice swing and a miss there, and he gets a strikeout. Weekday mornings, Get Up with Mike Greenberg, Michelle Beadle, and Jalen Rose. They'll be talking sports from New York City, South Street, Seaport. Get Up weekdays, 7 a.m. ESPN and the ESPN app. Two down now, man at first. And that's in there for a strike. Say, I also liked what Coach Gambino said at the beginning of the game. Yeah, we hope we don't have to do this game 10 years from now.
Right.
And that's for sure. Figure out a way to find a cure. He is a pretty great personality. If you guys have gotten a chance to speak to him, you can understand why kids would want to go play for him. He's got an upbeat sense to him. He's energized.
I think it's different too when you've got a head coach that played there.
Absolutely.
And for both of these head coaches it applies, but for Mike Gambino, when you've played in the program and has now seen the way that the program has grown and the facilities has grown, it's something he can continue to sell. Stretch time. Still all Knowles. Fenway.
Hey, there we are.
Yeah.
Well done. Kyle Peterson on the selfie. Fenway Park, the 7th annual ALS awareness game. Pete Frates here. The governor threw out the first pitch, and, well,
like it.
5,443, and the most they've had for an ALS awareness game.
Nice by almost 2,000.
Yeah.
3,600 last year.
Yeah, they did a good job promoting it, and got to continue to grow it. I mean, there's still, things to do. I'd love to see. I mean, look, the starting point, again, it's ALS, but it's called Lou Gehrig's disease. It really, baseball should own it. Is what I would say.
I think it's great. Yeah. Absolutely. You've done a lot of work for us.
Yeah, I lost my friend 11 years ago, and we've done work helping raise money for patient care. We got an event in New York City the end of May, and we got some cool stuff, some cool auction items, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, as with anything, it takes passion by those that are committed to raising money, and in it, clearly the Frates family's been amazing, but you're passionate for the cause, and
no doubt
it shows.
Those auction items, will they be able to be auctioned online?
Online, yeah. We were like about a week before our event will be May 29th, so there'll be we got some a Ken Griffey Jr. signed a jersey, Mariano Rivera signed jersey, Brian Cashman donated his box to a.
Really?
Yeah. So it's and a bunch of other stuff as well. So it'll it'll be cool. Everybody getting down to Young MC, I believe, is what they were listening to.
Everybody getting down to Young MC is what he just said.
You knew that, right?
Cobi Johnson on.
Yeah, I did know that. Cobi Johnson, who we've already seen at the plate today now on the mound. 25 strikeouts, 14 innings. There's good arm here, too. You take these guys that you can plug in the middle of the lineup. He's already scored 2 runs today, hit a triple. It's a full day.
Now, I did not notice Cobi go all the way to the bullpen.
Nor did I.
I did, because I've been paying incredible attention to the game.
Are you making that up, or are you serious?
I made all of that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every bit of it.
Now, so if he leaves the game, they lose the DH.
This is actually the role he's really been in. all year is on the mound. His first offensive start is today.
Left side, Salvatore. And there's one away.
What a place to get your first start, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. And triple. They miss a home run down the right field line by about a foot.
Yeah. Jake Gaudreau. Gaudreau, a walk, a strikeout, and he has flied out. FSU leading at 12-6, bottom 7. And here at Fenway Park, good crowd here today. BC led this game 2-0, led 5-3. But it's been all Florida State since, really. The changeup got him out in front.
Florida State has a chance to make a run now, too. And once they get done with this, they go to Stetson midweek. They get Miami at home, go to Clemson. But then the last 7 at home. Jacksonville in the midweek game, Mount St. Mary's for 3, and then NC State. RPI is already in a very good spot for Mike Martin's club, like it usually is this time of year. It was 10 coming into the weekend.
Hit hard and off the glove of Mendoza. That's got to be a base hit, no?
Should be.
That was a bullet.
That was a screamer. Really did not have a chance to move his feet at all. Watch the angle here. One bouncer right to his left.
Can we go back to Mike Martin for a second? Is Mike Martin wearing leather gloves?
That's what I liked. Did you see when he went out?
He took them off, didn't he?
But he was going out. I mean, they look like driving gloves.
Right,
they're wonderful.
He should be out like he's got like isotoners on. Like he should be wearing like
beautiful
an overcoat and like a suit and tie.
Those are Tim Kirchin's gloves.
Fedora. Those are beautiful.
I mean, Nike, don't be afraid to get the guy some gloves.
Those are warmer.
Yeah, that is.
The best part was he went to the mound to visit. He takes them off.
Yeah.
He doesn't even take the pitcher out of the game. I thought he was going to, here, give me the ball, son.
I love that.
Oh.
Totally sign off on that.
His hands are warmer than yours right now.
Agreed. Throw to first, and it gets away. And so down to second will go Baldelli.
That's an unnecessary throw right there. You're up 6, bottom of the 7th inning, 2 outs. No need to get greedy. I think Florida State knows is yesterday when they were up 8-1 after the 5th inning, Boston College came back and they had to play extra innings. They're not taking anything for granted.
That was a strange game yesterday for Florida State too. They made 6 errors. They'll make 6 errors. I mean, that's what had Mike Martin a little peeved before this one. Was yeah, you get a win, but this wasn't exactly the way that you wanted to do it. That you stand out there for 4 hours and 50 minutes with gloves on.
Center field, Reese Albert is there, and that is the inning. The temperatures have dropped, so a little chilly. Come out and say hi to everybody on the mound. Take the gloves off.
His given name was James Augustus Hunter, but we remember him by another, Catfish. In 15 big league seasons, he won more than 200 games, struck out more than 2,000 batters, and earned 5 World Series rings. Elected to the Hall of Fame in 1987, he died from ALS just 12 years later at 55. A life too short, but long on memories. Catfish Hunter, an ALS warrior.
Indeed, Catfish, an ALS warrior, gone too soon. And our man Pete Frates staying warm. 7th annual ALS awareness game, and all the money from ticket sales and all the money raised here goes to the Pete Frates Home Health Care Fund. Here's Matt Gill. Big guy at 6'5", 240, out for the 12th time. To the right side. Lou gobbles it up. That's Brian Dempsey, I beg your pardon. Yeah, Lou is now at third. Salvatore now with Florida State up 12-6. A little bit high. Sounds and looks like some Florida State folks made the trip for this one.
Oh, yeah.
Towards right center. That thing carried into the sun.
They traveled a lot more up, too. Just for the environment and to be involved in the whole situation.
Little NBA basketball tomorrow, ABC. A couple of playoff game 4s. 1 Eastern, Bucks and Celtics. As the Bucks try and even the series, and at 3:30, Warriors and Spurs. Spurs trying to fight off elimination. Yeah, there's some Knowles fans.
A lot of Knowles live in the area. Local booster clubs.
That's a strike. 2 down as Jackson Luke gets the hit. He's had a good day. Swings through that one.
Pitch base 4 out of 5 times, walked twice. Missed a home run by about 5 feet out to left center field, and drove in 2 with a single.
Do you remember what it was like the first time you came here, like to play?
Yes. The smell of the ballpark is completely different. And I think you probably understand. You've walked from the clubhouse down the tunnel to the dugout. Yeah. That smell is different. You're like, whoa, you're in an old ballpark. And it reminded me of my childhood because of being around this ballpark and knowing, and to me it's about the greats that were in that box. And I think, and I'm hoping that these young men understand greatness that has stood on the left side of the box, the greatness that has stood on the right side of the box, and this is the view that they had when they were in their moment. Williams, Boggs, Big Papi.
Up the middle, and Halamaki handles the chance. Florida State on top.
I'm Andrew Benintendi. I played in Omaha with Arkansas, the College World Series. It was awesome to get there for the state and for ourselves and our team. It was really fun. You got fans from all over the country coming to watch those teams compete, and it's what every team works for every year. To compete at that level is a good time.
He is an impressive player. KP, I was there with you this season, 2015, the College World Series. Those guys were all there.
Yeah.
It featured the first, the second, and seventh picks. And those guys are all in the big leagues and all players.
Yeah, Dansby having a good offensive season this year, too. Great start for the Braves. Benintendi, obviously, for what he's done here. Bregman's won a world title already. A chance to hang with Alex a little bit in spring training. Throw batting practice to him. Easier said than done. Down at West Palm, actually threw BP to A.J. Hinch for a little bit. It was a blast.
That's awesome. I think that those guys are in line with ideally what teams are looking for out of position players. In the hole, long throw, Salvatore, too late. So, like, you go back to the early 2000s and the late 90s and just those take and rake offensive teams, the Red Sox and the Yankees and even the Moneyball A's. It was not defense first. It was maybe unathletic is a little strong, but it was guys who were on base slug guys, and you didn't think of defense. Now what you're finding with these teams, guys like Benintendi, like Bregman, athletic players that impact defensively and give you OBP and slug.
Here's the thing with Bregman, though. He had never played third base. I mean, he played shortstop every day when he was at LSU, from the day he stepped on campus till the day that he left. And I mean, the highlight reel plays that he's made in the last week and a half alone.
Unreal.
I mean, going backhand side into foul territory to make throws. He's adjusted great to that position.
I mean, he's adjusted great to the league and to the clubhouse. And if you look at it, this kid stands around all those Latino players and acts like one.
Totally.
He speaks the language.
Yes.
He isn't afraid to make a mistake doing it. You have to love those guys, and I think that's actually, you got to give a lot of credit to the Houston Astros and recognizing also the personality that he has, that they knew that he would fit in that clubhouse.
Line to right. And shading his eyes was Wells. I don't know what he could have done in that spot. 2 on, nobody out.
Carson Fulmer was that same draft. I think it was 4 of the top 8 or 9 picks in the draft that year we had at the College World Series.
Alamaki now, a walk, a single, a strikeout, and a ground out. Switch hitter hitting from the left side.
He gets on right here. It's interesting. You got the top of the lineup up, 2 runners on already, up by 6, but we saw what they did yesterday. Put up a lot of runs late in the game. That fight continues.
Palomaki wearing that C-flap on the helmet that we're seeing a lot more at the major league level, so not that full mass that goes all the way across, but that covers up your cheekbone. Boog, we were talking about this a few weeks ago. The Brewers organization, what is it, below the AA level or below the AAA level, has made it mandatory that everybody is wearing that in the minor leagues.
And strongly encouraging AA and AAA players. And you're just seeing more and more guys who haven't gotten hit wear it. Nice play. Durr able to get his feet right and throw out Palomaki.
In an era where you see a lot of infield shifts going on, and we've seen Boston College do it, Florida State Seminoles have played a true straight up on everyone, especially up the middle. They're playing double play depth, and that's something. We've seen a couple hits here and there that have happened in the hole. The leadoff hit in the 6th hole. They're going to have to get away from that double play depth and, yes, get the out and the easy routine out depending on where it goes.
So they're going to go to replay here. Safe out at first base.
Saw Mike Gambino, the third base coach, head coach of this Boston College team, come over right away and say, let's go ahead and take another look at it. And honestly, it should stand the way that it looks right there. The ball was clearly in the glove before the right foot of Palomaki got to the base. But
no doubt,
this is one of the things we're seeing more at the college baseball level, and there's some that they're calling experimental. Technically, this is one of the experimentals, whether or not you're out on a force play. But we should see more. You can't do it across like you can in Major League Baseball because not every game is televised. But those that are, and those that have enough of, whether it's a school feed or a home feed, you can go get a look. I think it's great that we're trying to do more of it.
My first thought is that feels dicey. That, I guess if I were to distill it down, the ability to be accurate is greater for some games than it is for others.
But wouldn't you at least like the chance? I mean, because it's really only affecting the 2 on the field at that point. I mean, it's not affecting another game that's in a different city. I mean, it's yes, even if you don't have all the looks that you would have at the Major League level, clearly, but I still think it's good to use as much as you can.
You know what I do like is what the SEC does when they play against each other is the signs. They don't have signs from the catcher, from the bench to the catcher to see what pitch is coming. It's all done via the headset. It's all done by the earpiece. The catcher wears an earpiece. Easily done, the walkie-talkie, and it saves time.
I would love if we got to the point to where there weren't any signs of the catcher. Honestly, that you just let the catcher call the game. Because I think from a growth standpoint, a development standpoint, it's so much better for these kids to learn how to do that here.
I think that's going to be very difficult to do, though.
It is. I mean, I would agree. I mean, just the way that the culture is. But the reality is, if you're really trying to develop guys behind home plate, you got to let them learn how to do that. It's one thing to, I mean, they're learning even if pitches are being relayed into them, but you don't learn until you're the guy that ultimately is making the decision.
(12-6) FSU. We're the bottom of the 8th.
So he's still looking in, then have to look at the wristband to give the sign.
David Ross actually wore one of those
earpiece
with the wristband. The wristband with that had like a scouting report on it.
Said it saved him a lot of time. I asked him about it. He said he loved it. That way, for each pitcher, you have a different wristband to get the names and what you wanted to do with that certain hitter.
Yeah, what you do early. He showed it to me. What you do early, what you do late. Nice pick at first.
Reminds me of that first baseman that used to play there for the Seminoles back in the day.
Who's that?
Doug Minkavich?
Right before Minkavich. But nice call. He learned from me. He had to go there, didn't he?
That was well done.
Nice pick right there. Beautiful pick. Stays with it. Look at keeps his eyes on it.
There's something, too, about a left-handed first baseman on a play like that it just looks smooth.
Yeah.
You're right. Minkavich thing was funny.
Yeah, it was.
That was fun. That was pretty good.
It was. You know what the worst part about it was? I was about to do a punchline on him, and I get actually sucker punched on that. I set myself up. I was like, why did I go there?
No, it wasn't supposed to happen that way.
No.
Oh, off the end of the bat. Mendoza. That's the inning. We're headed to the 9th here at Fenway Park. College baseball is brought to you by Caramel M&Ms. We're making caramel fun. Lobster. I love lobster. Back at Fenway Park. Sun's starting to set. And we head to the 9th, a 12-7 game. And right now, Florida State on top. And here's the catcher, Cal Raleigh, bounces one foul.
Always in awe of any catcher that can switch hit with all the responsibilities that they have with the pitchers. Still take time to practice both sides of the plate. Victor Martinez is one when he was my teammate in Cleveland.
Are there less now? I feel like there are less now, but I have no empirical data to back that up.
Switching catchers?
No, just switch hitters.
It feels like there are less.
It really does.
Greg Zahn you dropped.
Back in the day. I'm trying to think of switching catchers.
Jason Varitek.
Ted Simmons.
Love. Handled nicely there by Gill. When I was with the Marlins, Jim Leland was a manager. Greg Zahn stole a base and may have stolen two. And post game, in with the media, he like popped his head in and was like, "Hey Skip, did you see that? 2 stolen bases." And it's like, I need the green light more often. And Jim Leland said, "All right, Zahnie, if I jump up in the air and don't come down, you go." One in for a strike to Mendoza, who's ahead 0-2. FSU a winner last night. They've scored 10 or more 3 straight games. And Boston College is on top early, and it's won 2-0 and 5-3. Gill, and that pushed foul. It still is a funny thing for me as a Boston College alum to think of them as being in the ACC. For as long as they've been in the ACC, it still seems odd. They weren't when I was in school there.
Were they Big East?
Yeah.
Big East has a little different look now.
Yeah.
Like Creighton in the Big East, and Boston College in the ACC.
That's right. Got him looking. Gill gets the strikeout. Sunday Night Baseball coming your way tomorrow night from the big leagues and Dodger Stadium. The Nats and the Dodgers. It's presented by Taco Bell, 8 Eastern. And also available on the ESPN app. Coverage starts with baseball tonight. Sunday night countdown. It'll be Hellickson and Wood. And that game also available on ESPN Radio. I will not be calling that game. Chris Singleton is cheating on me with Roxy Bernstein.
You want to hang with us?
That's right.
Glad you're here.
Good to be here. Honored to be part of this again. I would love to do this game for the rest of my career. I would be delighted to call the last one of these.
Yeah.
Well, as Coach said, hopefully there won't be too many of these.
No doubt. Through the left side, that's a base hit.
He's on base again.
Jeez.
It's amazing. And when he hit the ball, he actually looked to his right to the fans. Looks like they were all over him, heckling him. Watch this after making contact. Turns around. I got you guys. I don't even think it was towards the dugout. I think it was more towards the fans right there in the front row.
Kyle Cavanaugh going to hit here. 2 down, man at first, top 9. And Florida State up 12-7.
I like this. Get the senior an at-bat here at Fenway.
I think it's the same thing. Yep, absolutely.
Hit hard, and that one ate up Alamaki.
I was just about to say Cavanaugh has some serious pop, too. In the Super Regionals last year. Came up, pinch hit home run. Right there, he's looking at the board to see if they'll give that a hit or not, and they will. And Clyde Keller, first base coach. Big old smile. Clyde Keller was a teammate of mine, Florida State. With that size, was actually one of the top starters. Had a vicious palm ball. Vicious. You knew it was coming, you still couldn't hit it.
Like Joe Baber.
Yeah.
Joe Baber was a palm ball guy too. Got to get your first hit off.
Looks like they're going to
go
so with another pinch hitter.
Who's
like
another senior?
Sony.
I think it's Bornigal.
No, it is. Yeah,
I think it's Rafael Bornigal. Who's another senior. So I mean, this is cool now. I mean, you get 2 seniors into pitch hit, back into the ball game. Both can tell everybody for the rest of their lives they get a chance to get in the bat at Fenway Park.
Rafael's probably wondering, why did they give me some more time? Because right now it's been pretty cold in that dugout.
Yeah.
Nowhere to hide, no clubhouse. Clubhouses aren't open.
And Bornigal into center field with the base hit. And that knocks in a run.
Now that's pretty cool. You get both seniors, one at bat, base hit each one of them. This one driving in a run.
And you get to make a memory right there. That was cool.
It took that guy getting on base again too for it to happen. 2 outs, nobody on. 2-out single by Wells, then back-to-back seniors with hits. Rafael Bornigal drives in another run.
strike. Pretty much the whole field covered in shade. Lights are on. Temperature has dropped.
And the wind has picked up.
Yeah, no doubt. Two aboard here's.
Say whatever you want, Kyle. I'd rather have a full stadium where I don't hear anyone a peep.
Alamaki on the move.
Nice play. Coming on in. Make it a 6-3. Take it to the bottom of the ninth. See what's up for BC.
Forever associated with a baseball legend, connected as the catalyst for a charitable challenge. ALS is a progressive disease, but also a merciless thief. It robs comfort and motion and speech, but it can't touch the mind. It can't seize the awareness or stop the research or block the drive to a cure. ALS may take many things, but never the greatest of them: hope, joy, love.
The 7th annual ALS awareness game, and all the ticket proceeds benefit the Pete Frates number 3 fund. One of the guys you saw in that video, Steve Gleason, the former New Orleans Saints safety, and he's a guy that continues to be an advocate and battle as an ALS warrior. I've done some work with his foundation. Our charity is partnering with his charity for that event that we mentioned. But Steve Gleason and Team Gleason, they've done a lot out of New Orleans. So he's another guy.
It's a great event. I was looking forward to come out and doing this from the first time I saw it. Couldn't do it with you last year, Boog, but this was neat.
In the air at center field. Wow. Albert able to hold that one in.
Albert almost got to the warning track. He thought that ball was hit over his head.
And then he came sprinting in and almost overran it.
Yeah, but you're right, Kyle. This is an unbelievable event, and I was impacted so much. You even had to call me and say, "Hey, buddy, there's 20 minutes for the game to start." I was on that field just listening and talking to the players and listening to the stories and to Pete's dad, John. It's an amazing thing what the family, the Frates family, has done to continue the awareness and the fight.
Yeah, John and Nancy, his parents. And of course we heard from Andrew, Pete's brother. Non-stop work. All right, so I have a question, and it's a serious question for the pitcher.
Okay.
It's a hard question, though.
Are you going to ask said question, or are we just going to kind of hang on the end here?
So, it's 13-7.
He's not trying to throw a ball.
Right. So, and then the analysis that we'll give is he lost concentration, which I think is nonsense. So what's happening there? What happens?
Game's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to hit. It's hard to throw it over a 17-inch plate from 60 feet away. Sometimes Sometimes it's just hard.
I'm in on that answer. Man, the wind is tough.
Game's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And Mike Martin saw this last night. Saw 6 errors yesterday. He mentioned 3 pop-ups that they had issues with. And that's another one right there. That's the 3rd error of the game for Florida State.
So Alou now. And a strike. 13-7. FSU on top.
3s all over the board for Florida State. 13-13 with 3 errors.
Did he get him? Yeah, he did. Pick off at second.
It's a lonely trot right there.
Yeah, down 6 runs.
That's close right there.
Watch when he comes up, though, after the tag. He's on the bag right there. He's on, but he keeps the tag on. It seemed like that left hand got off the bag for one moment. He gets there first, no doubt. He's there. Now watch the hand. Did it come off that 1 second? Right there?
Close, yeah, close.
Yeah. Well, BC down to their final strike. The Eagles down 13-7. Side. Now Mike Martin with a victory.
Taking the gloves off.
He'll be 3 away from tying.
Ready to shake hands.
Augie Garrido.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put into words just the impact and the respect that people have for that man and had for Augie Garrido, who passed away about a month ago. And you get your name mentioned with Augie Garrido in this game, it's that's about as high praise as you can have. And quite honestly, if you get your name mentioned with Mike Martin in this game, that's about as high a praise as you can have.
Interesting thing with Mike Martin, he's done it here at Florida State. All these, I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
what
one
he is.
spot.
One spot. A game that has evolved, he's been able to evolve with it.
His son right next to him, Mike Martin Jr. Had a chance to coach his son in that uniform for a few years.
Well, now it's going full 3-2. Runner at first. Line to right, and Wells right there. Fittingly, it ends in his glove. Mike Martin now 3 wins away from tying Augie Garrido, 4 from becoming the all-time winningest coach in the history of Division I college baseball. The Noles win it here today. Fellas, enjoyed this. I'm glad we can all do it together.
It's an honor to be here and an honor to be amongst both of you. So let's do this again.
Yeah, enjoyed it as well. And hopefully it's a chance we can come over and just do a game. and not do it for ALS awareness, but do it because there's been a cure, and still come up to Boston and hang out for a bit. But I enjoy it, fellas.
Yeah, for sure. So a real good day here today. Of course, the Frates family in the house for this one. Disappointing for Mike Gambino's group, back-to-back days as their pitching got banged around just a bit. Let's send it downstairs. Here's Molly McGrath with the winning coach.
I made up my mind I wasn't going to get
Thank you, Boog. I'm talking to Coach right now about how fun it was for him coaching at Fenway Park. What was it like for you being here, having this experience with your team?
Molly, it's the first time in many, many, many years that I said I'm not going to really worry about winning and losing. It's going to be a day that our players are going to always remember. I hope we play well, and we did play well, and obviously it turned out the way we hoped it would.
You had a couple seniors pinch hitting in the 9th inning. How meaningful was it for you? How important was it for you to give them this experience?
Well, we wanted to try to get all of them in there, but we got all of our seniors in there. We got a number of freshmen that did not get in, but it was great that Kyle Cavanaugh got in and hit the daylights out of the ball too. And it was great for Rafi to get a base hit to drive in a run for us.
And you had a couple freshmen taking the mound here at Fenway Park. Tyler Ahearn wasn't phased. He gave you some consistency in the pitching game. What did he do well? How did you keep this stage from getting too big for them?
You know, Molly, C.J. Van Eyck pitched pretty good too. He just threw so many darn pitches that he was up to about 60 after 2 innings, and Tyler Ahearn gave us a big lift. He really came in and kind of calmed everything down. He threw about 70 pitches in a little more than 3 innings. It was a big lift for us the way he came in and got it done.
I saw you sharing an embrace with Coach Gambino over there at home plate. What did you say to him?
I just told him how much I appreciated the fact that he wanted us to be here for this special day, this very meaningful day. And I don't know, I get to talking about Pete and I get very emotional, but it was so nice of them to extend an invitation to Florida State University to be here. I'm very proud to say that.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of it, and congrats on the win, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Boog, over to you.
That's cool. I mean, you could just sense how genuine, how appreciative Mike Martin is for Coach Gambino to invite the Noles to participate in the ALS awareness game. Florida State wins it. Back to wrap it up after this. Back here at Fenway Park, the Florida State Seminoles celebrate a win with a team picture in front of the Green Monster. That is cool. Congratulations to the Noles as they win here today and end up taking this ALS awareness game. It's great to see Pete Frates, wife and daughter, his brother there as well. Governor throwing out the first pitch. And just a great afternoon. And Jake Alou giving some love to the former captain. Yeah, 5th inning here is when things really started to get away from BC. A game, Kyle, that they were up 5-3.
Yeah, they were. And it looked like BC might have a chance to even this series up. At 5 runs in the 4th for Florida State. They'd had 5 runs, 4 runs in the 5th. How about that? 3 in the 6th for Florida State. The offense kept going. Now double-digit runs for Florida State, 3 straight games, and the offense was in a lot of different ways today. But boys, it was a lot of fun hanging with it for a while.
It really was, and let's give a lot of credit to both teams. They came out here, they battled. It was a cold one, but they came out through.
Yeah, great day at the ballpark. ALS awareness game. Florida State wins it. Thanks to everyone for joining us.